Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast, episode 79, as well as the last episode of the year, at least last traditional episode. We will be doing the Soggies come like the first week of January, hopefully. But that's not important because we still have a decent amount of gaming news left. I guess companies want to get their last loadout. Don't know why I said it like that before the end of the year. But Christmas is next week, so we're gonna be taking a break along with, let's be honest, most of the industry. I'm the Uncharted Wolf, and I am joined by Fusion
How's it going?
and Bench,
Hello, I am here.
the two people who could not join us last week. So now it's like they're coming back for, I don't know, something.
Or Witcher Redemption?
My man Fusion felt slighted. He was saying some choice words towards me in the Discord. That's all I'll say.
Deserved words.
Listen, I don't know I did anything wrong, but okay. If you want to find us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere your favorite podcasts are found. Like the podcast, any type of support helps, and follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. Now, before we get into the actual news, there are two things I actually want to talk about real quick. First, we're a week coming from the TGA's, the Game Awards, and I want to get these two's opinions on them because they weren't here last week. Bench, you were actually here. You were there. You were in the same vicinity as Jeff Keighley.
I was. I mean, it was just pretty magical. I actually met a lot of industry people, which I didn't expect to do. Like, I met Sven Vinke from Larian. I got a photo with him. A photo with Mike and Sean from Giant Bomb. A photo with Barrett's voice actor, John Bentley. That was crazy. And then Kit and Krista, I got a photo with them. And Donkey, I met him. So just a lot of cool things on top of just being in there. And what I think is probably the best Game Awards, without question. I think it's easily a 10 out of 10. And sure, there's some small things, but I don't think it's realistically possible for a better show to be made with just anything possible for the Game Awards. And I think, well, some people, I don't think they'll like top this show. I do think it's going to keep the Game Awards at a different level because now maybe Jeff has just solidly built up a trust throughout like just the industry that I really think is just going to carry forward. And I just think it was just so fun being in the crowd while like popping off like with the Naughty Dog stuff. Everyone went crazy Witcher stuff, and it was just honestly just a magical experience because it's kind of what you dream about doing, and I was lucky enough to get to do that.
That's pretty insane. That's the best part is that you came this year when it was at its best. So it's like last year, it's like, well, damn, okay, I guess I went to the Game Awards. What I saw, like, X Defiant. I don't know, what was that Game Awards last year?
Funny enough, I was going to do last year, but then some things came up, and we had to move it to this year. So, I mean, guess something was at play, and then we got to see the best awards in person.
Fusion, you weren't there because I don't know, man. Life sucks. I get it. But what did you think of this year's Game Awards?
Yeah, Binks brought his dad instead of me, which was crazy to think about, honestly. Like,
bro,
we're not gonna play video games. Like, well, what are you trying to do here?
My dad chatted it up with Mike for a solid 5 minutes.
I'm imagining all those Hoyoverse trailers, those anime game trailers, and then his dad sitting there like Homelander.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this shit?
I guess,
Looking at the screen.
like, as someone, I guess, as an outsider to gaming as a whole, because my dad was not a gamer, he came away with a newfound appreciation for games and the people that make them. And I think that's kind of what Jeff was trying to do this year, and I think he, as someone who doesn't game, I think he came away with that. So I think Jeff succeeded in that.
I feel like the show is mostly for gamers, though. I don't know if it's like he was trying to get non-gamers to watch, but more so just like, I don't know. I think it's mostly a gamer show. I don't think he's really trying to get like non-gamers watching.
For sure, but I think with those like speeches and stuff that we got this year that we really haven't gotten before, you can really see the passion behind it. So where if you're like someone who doesn't really get it, then maybe that'll help you understand a little more why someone you do know is so passionate about games.
Well, enough about Bench's dad. Fusion, what did you think?
Yeah, as someone who wasn't there and watched it from my couch, it was entertaining. I think it was, as Bing said, probably, as multiple have said, I think it is the best Game Awards we've ever seen, which is pretty impressive because I don't think the Game Awards has ever necessarily been terrible. I think they've always been at least baseline good, and we've had some great ones. I think this one was like a fantastic one. This is one of those like I wouldn't put it in the same echelon as 2015 Sony E3 for me, but I think it's just like a tier down. Like I think they're both. I think that show's a 10, and I think the show Jeff put on last week would be a 10 out of 10 for different reasons. It was just it was a moment in the industry that we're gonna be able to look back on and see like so many, especially like super old PS2 games came, and like it felt like it was a show for like the 30-year-olds who are older than us and like could be excited for all these remakes.
Whoa, buddy, buddy, hang on. The 30-year-olds, I'm right there.
and like, but at the same time, giving us the new stuff like a Witcher and a Naughty Dog reveal. Like it was to the point where we were going into that last section. For one, I was already pissed off about Jeff flashing the Naughty Dog logo for it to be a PC Last of Us Part 2 remake. Not remake, but a port. And then for him to actually show me Naughty Dog at the end, like, I mean, it was as good as a show as almost you could get from me. It felt very Fusion centric, where it's just like everything I wanted for the most part was at this show. And the things I didn't get at this show happened on their own like a week later that we'll talk about. So it's like, for a show standpoint, I think there's still things that Jeff can do, especially on the award side. I think the award need to matter still more, and I hate it when Jeff just goes up there and throws off like 8 awards in a row. No one comes up for the stage. Like I understand there's so many awards at some point, everyone can't have time on the stage, but from an actual like he put a show together from point A to point B, the jokes, everything together. I think this is as good as the Game Awards can get. Will it ever hit this high again? Maybe, like if we're talking maybe the 15th year or the 20th year, I think this year was really special for being the 10th year.
Yeah.
But I still think Jeff has enough publisher backing now that we're going to get big reveals at least every year.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I feel like, because we saw the recent numbers. Damn, I forgot what they were exactly. It was
136 million. No, 156 million.
Okay.
156 million streams. This is the biggest stage for gaming. Like, let's just be real.
Yeah.
This is what this replaces E3 when it comes to game reveal stage. So genuinely, I feel like if you're like one of these publishers, I think you'd be insane not to use this stage if you have a trailer ready. Like, I get the whole like, oh, we want to reveal it on our own and have all the media attention, but also the media attention is still there. Naughty Dog's game is still very much the most talked about thing, along with Witcher 4, along with Onimusha, Okami. They're all sharing the limelight. It's not a thing where it's like, oh, I completely forgot this game was revealed. Now, granted, obviously for personal things, like maybe there are things that are less interesting to us, but also there's just as many people who are excited for these crazy reveals. Maybe there's someone out there who got really excited for Catly, the AI cat game, which that's just a funny news story. I wish I put that. It's a weird story. But I think it just comes down to publishers are a lot more trusting of Jeff. I think that, like you said, you're going to see way more of these scale reveals at Game Awards. I just don't know if we'll ever get like kind of a perfect storm like we did this year. So I'm very curious to see where it goes from here. And also, I mean, in the case of the actual awards, I'm with you, Fusion. I feel like utilizing that side stage where Sydney Goodman hosts the pre-show and Jeff Coe's up there sometimes. I wish you could just do that and have like the developer come on and make like a quick speech, like what's it called? The Astrobot developers went up there for one of the Family Game Award. And like that speech is substantially shorter. There's not a huge stage presence. It's like, instead of just rattling off all these awards one by one, utilize that side stage and give a quick speech. I think that's something they could definitely look into more in the future.
Exactly. It's not like, I understand the show's already long. Like it's like, including the pre-show, it's like 3.5 hours. So it's a long show. And I know people complain about how long it is today. But I feel like even just 5 to 7 more 2 to 3 minute speeches from the actual devs wouldn't hurt that much. Like I understand the pacing, you could run into pacing issues, but like if you're gonna complain about anything taking too much time, it should never be the devs up there on stage. And I felt like they did it was a good job this year of like please wrap it up. There was no music to send people off the stage. People took their time, and I feel like at the end of the day, devs aren't gonna go up there unless you're Christopher Judge and he's not even a dev who just won't measure worth. Most people,
God bless them.
These devs aren't going up to the stage and going to talk for 5 to 10 minutes. Most of them are nerds who don't want to sit in front of hundreds of people and talk anyways. They get their award, they have a heartfelt speech, and they get out within like a minute. Like I never understand. It's not like we're sitting there and devs are talking forever, but I feel like at the very least, every dev who wins an award should at least get some time to go up there if they want and speak about it. That's in a perfect world where we might have to make an even longer show or do something where I know there's been people I've seen where they're like, maybe we split up the awards and the reveals, but that just doesn't seem right because then no one's going to watch the awards. Or maybe it's a thing where I forget who said it. I don't know if it was Mike from Kinda Funny, but almost like a red carpet thing before the show where we just get interviews with the devs. So it's like almost so you have, even before the pre-show, you just have a thing of when the devs are walking into the arena, talk with a few of them. Like get someone out there interviewing them, talking about their game. Like they don't know they've won an award yet or any of that stuff, but at least you're getting to see more of these devs talk in some form. Granted, it's going to be the least watched amount of the show, but at least in some form you're getting more dev talk.
We kind of got that this year with the GameSpot
Yeah.
thing, because that was in direct partnership with the Game Awards. And while they didn't get a ton of devs on, but maybe that's something that they can use to build in the future of something they can do before the show.
Yeah, and I will say, like, there are certain categories that were, like, kind of, like, won by the same game. Like, Astrobot and Balatro won a lot of the awards, so maybe you don't have to do a big on-stage presence for both independent and indie, and same with, like, other categories where it's the same game winning again, so it's like, okay, we're going to get the Astrobot developers on the big stage again. We're going to get the Balatro devs on stage again. But like stuff like Frostpunk too, I mean, that won an award. They didn't get a stage presence at all. And it's like, okay, like at least let every game get a presence on the stage in some form. That's kind of my viewpoint. But
yeah,
that's the
I agree.
oh yeah, okay. But that's the TGAs. Now there were a couple things that came out of it a week later. First, just real quick, I need to talk. Catly is so funny. Did you guys follow this?
No, I haven't.
The Catly story. So you remember that cat game that was like right after Witcher 4?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that game is AI generated. And it was fully AI generated, and the company, oh my god, you guys, the company who are working on it are called Super Authenta.
I think it's getting worse. The story is
Yeah.
getting worse.
Yeah.
You know, like super authentic, but Super
Yeah.
Authenta. And they're like, oh no, our game isn't AI generated, but they have worked on blockchain based games again before, NFT based games. So pretty much everything tells us like this game is very much AI. That is just hilarious that came on the stage, and I don't know why Jeff was like, okay, go ahead, put your game up there, because I feel like just looking at it, you have to tell it's AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a funny story. I thought it was pretty interesting.
He's like, they're gonna pay me to be up there, whatever.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, go ahead, show your AI. Another thing, you guys catch this? The Game Science CEO, what he was saying about Black
Yeah,
Myth
I did.
Wukong. He wrote a Goaty acceptance speech 2 years ago. And then he had his quote: the games nominated this year were all excellent, but I really didn't understand this criteria for this year's Game of the Year. Felt like I came here for nothing. And there was this whole, he made a whole blog post after the award show, basically talking about the disappointment and everything. And also there was a quote from Alana Pierce, who was at the Game Awards, and she said, like, yeah, when Astrobot won GOTY, like, it was interesting because, like, I heard, like, one of the developers crying after the loss. It feels like a weird situation, especially the blog post. It was machine translated. I have heard like other remarks from people who actually speak Chinese. It's like, well, it's more like the words spoken are very much true, but also like the tone of the message is very different. I don't know what you guys think about that whole thing. It seems like for some reason they thought their game was Game of the Year quality when it's not. But hey, it's just a very fascinating situation there.
I think you're fine to be upset that you didn't win, because I mean that's with any sort of creative or sport or whatever. But I do think there is like wrong. It means just wrong that you think like, oh, I don't understand the criteria. People thought they made a better game. You lost. That's okay. But what your game, you should have like acknowledged your team is impressive for what they did in their first game. But yeah, I thought it was just a little like off-putting, because I mean, yeah, there are a lot of better games this year, and they should feel honored just to be in that top 6. Because honestly, like, a lot of people thought they didn't belong, but they made it up there. You should be proud of that.
Yeah, and they won 2 awards. Rebirth got 1.
Yeah, they they got a speech too. They got to go say their piece up there. A lot of people didn't get that.
Yeah,
What
I
about
would
you, Future?
say I agree with Link where like you're allowed to show emotion when you lose something. Especially since they've worked years on this game to the point where 2 years ago they thought they had a Game of the Year winner, which is that's great to have confidence in yourself. 100%. They shouldn't none of these devs are going up there hopefully and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to lose this award." You should if you put a game up there that's nominated for Game of the Year, you should in some part of your mind believe you made a Game of the Year winner that can win. It's not always going to end up being that way. So that's fine to be upset. If you're going to cry, whatever, like actual emotional cry about it, not like I'm like be sad that you lost and not crying where it's like, "Oh, this is unfair" type of losing. My issue was when he did kind of come at the other come at the people who voted almost, and then the other games where it's just like
Yeah.
we feel like for example, he didn't say it, but so Astrobot won. We feel like our game is just so much better than Astrobot, or just did things that Astrobot didn't, and it just like you can't. Even if you truly believe that, you can't say that out loud. You can't. You're a dev in this industry. This is the whole thing where devs are like, not all devs are friends, but like you're in the same boat. You're both making a video game at the end of the day, and it's like for you to come out and be like, "Yeah, we just felt like our game was so much better than these other games," or like the voting was skewed, or just in some way where it's just like makes it seem like it was less important, or if their game would have won, there would have been no issue here, but because their game lost, they have issues with how it ended up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the part where I push back and I'm like, I really like your dev team. I really like the game you put out. I like Wukong a lot. Let's not have like this weirdo mentality in the background with your behind it where it's like, don't make me less excited for your next project because I have to worry about your out of game stuff. Like let's reel this back in a little bit and come back to like normalcy and be just a normal human. That should be, you lost. You should feel some type of sadness, but you should also be excited for the industry and excited to see all these other games win and these devs get their time. And like, it's a celebration at the end of the night.
And it is just so fascinating that it's like you see a lot of the Wukong fans. It's like Wukong was robbed. Astrobot took it from it. It's like, dude, Wukong wasn't even the second runner-up, guys. Let's just be real here. Like, I look at that list, and I think Wukong was actually the least likely to win. And that's not even like a dig at Wukong. I think Wukong's fine, but like, it was rated an 81. Like, it is the lowest rated Game Awards nominee of all time, even lower than PUBG. Like, that's just an objective truth. It's not to the quality of the game or subjective quality. There may have been enough people that liked it that would have gotten a Game of the Year, but just looking at the facts, it's like, it was lower rated than other games that were up there. And also, I mean, here's the thing. You're going to make this whole spiel. At the end of the day, you still won 2 awards. Like, Stellar Blade didn't win anything, and you know what the devs were on Twitter said? They were like, "Thank you for nominating us." They didn't get mad. They didn't make this whole speech. They were just happy to be there. It's like that means a lot. That's a very big, prestigious honor to just be nominated, especially for Game of the Year. So it's just a weird situation. Hey, Black Myth Wukong 2, let's hope you win Game of the Year.
And, well, they're probably already writing the speech right now. Before the concept even goes up, the speech is written. Like, our proof of concept will get us there.
Their speech, like one of the lines is, also in 2024, fuck you, Astrobot, we should have won.
And to be fair, they have a Game of the Year. They won the Golden Joysticks 2 weeks ago. And, like, I don't remember. They didn't prepare a speech for then, so, like, is that just a thing of...
They didn't even show up.
I was going to say, is that a thing where it's like, okay, at the end of the day, maybe some of these devs truly believe that, like, Jeff's TGA is the award that matters? Because, again, they won the Golden Joystick. And nothing, like, more people were upset that they won the Golden Joystick than people who, like, actually cared that they lost, I feel like, the Game Awards, but...
Oh, trust me, you didn't see. There were a lot of very upset Wukong fans.
Well, it's the Spider-Man 2 stuff from last year.
I saw a lot of people, though, like, this is actually kind of a good thing in a way, because I saw a lot of people saw Astrobot 1 and get all pissed, like, oh, this is bullshit. And then they actually played Astrobot. It's like, fine, I'll see for myself. And they come out of it like, okay, this is actually really good. That was a really good game.
And that's what makes even getting nominated so special, I think, is because there's going to be all those nominations up there. People are going to, like, might have had no interest to play these games. Like, Balatro is another example. Balatro didn't win, but because it was nominated so much, it had so much backlash of why is a card game up there. Then hundreds of thousands of people actually took time of their day to be like, okay, I'll give this a chance before judging it. And now there's a bunch of Balatro sickos all over the world. People love Balatro now because of just getting nominated and getting like under the spotlight. It should be the same thing with Wukong. People are going to go now play Wukong. But if you're the devs doing all this nonsense on the back end, that might stop a few people from being like, well, this dev team's ridiculous. I'm going to try your game out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like subjectively or anecdotally, it happened with me with Control and Stray, where I was just like, I didn't know anything about those games, and then I actually played them after they got nominated, and they turned out to be games I really fucking loved. And it's like, I think that nomination is way stronger than people think.
I mean, yeah, I did the same with Balatro. Like, I haven't like beat it or anything, but it got nominated. I was like, I think I need to check this out. So when end of year comes, I can have an opinion on it. I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't nominated.
You didn't finish a run yet?
I mean, I've been busy.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying though, if you want to finish a run,
not yet.
Just use the yellow deck. It wins.
Okay.
I did want to also talk about IGN and GameSpot also did their Game of the Year. Both of them gave it to Metaphor, which I was actually pretty surprised about. And also VGC Fusion gave it to Astrobot, so we win there.
Yep. Let's go.
I will say, Bench, I don't want to be that guy. I think at this point, I don't think Rebirth's going to win any Game of the Year awards. Not for
it's
lack
already
of
won.
trying.
It's already won.
No,
some.
like Game of the Year.
It's won some.
Some
of the smaller sites.
Okay, well, like I'm saying, like one of the big places, like a DICE or BAFTA.
It won my Game of the Year. That's all that matters.
There you go.
If we want to talk about like actually in some form, in the I don't know if you guys ever followed like the Game of the Year award tracker. It's like the site that like keeps track of every game of the like that's ever been given out for the year. Right now, the top three actually, it's Astrobot, Balatro, and Rebirth is third.
Oh, well, really? Is it that like awards in general, or
it's
Game of the Year specifically?
Game of the Year specifically awards. So as of whenever this was updated, I don't know when. I don't think this was updated today, but like Astrobot has had 19 total across the globe. Balatro had 8. Rebirth had 8.
Okay, there you go. I stand corrected. But I mean, like, what are the sites? Let's see.
But there hasn't been. It's not updated because the IGN and who did you say also just gave it the Metaphor?
GameSpot.
Yeah, that's not on there yet. So like when that gets updated, we'll see. It's not updated yet.
That is so, dude. Looking at this top 10 is funny, dude. EA Sports College Football 25 is at number 10.
Good for that.
Deserved.
It has one award though, so it's like okay.
Oh yeah, it always happens like every year where like it will be like 20 games that won one. Like one award by some random outlet.
Shout out to IGN Japan for Silent Hill 2 remake. Let's go.
What a good game. Great game. Fantastic.
All right, Bench, calm down. And then last TGA thing, we had our bets and we did the results last week, and Fusion, what we learned was you and Bop won and Bench lost. And I'm just a bystander. So the agreement was whoever wins chooses a game for the loser to play. Now I have nothing to do with this, so Fusion, take it away. You and Bop, you decided on something.
Yeah, we did. For one, I should have demanded a recount because I swear I beat Bop. I don't know. I didn't count. Whatever we tied.
I felt that too. I checked again. It's like, yeah, no, it was a tie.
Okay. I thought it's because I missed like I should have known. We did that thing at the end where I picked Rebirth and then Astrobot, like Rebirth for game direction and then Astrobot, because we thought, they won't sweep, they won't give it to both. That really kind of messed me up in the end. But yeah, we were talking all week that we're like, okay, what should we give Binks? We didn't want to give him like something horrendous, and we didn't want to give him something super long. We had a couple ideas. I know Bop was very into like the 10 hours of Skull and Bones. And I'm like, but I want him to have to roll credits on something. You know what I mean? Like I want him to have to roll credits. Like I think we had one of the options was South Park, like the snow day one. Like we threw that out there.
Oh, dude, that game sucks.
We're like, nah, let's not do that. So, to completion, Binks, and you have to next time you're on the podcast, whenever you beat this game and you're on the podcast next after, you have to give us a breakdown. You have to give us a full review of this video game. It's a game that came out this year, not too long ago. Funko Fusion.
No.
You have to play.
Actually evil.
Funko Fusion.
Okay.
We looked at the times. It's about a 10-hour game. You could probably shorten it on how long to beat. It was like 10 hours or something. but you have to beat and play Funko Fusion, and then give us a review breakdown next time you're on the podcast after you beat it.
That is actually heinous, Fusion.
It's not that bad of a game.
Dude, it is. It actually is. Everything I've seen about that.
I immediately I think shout out Bop because this was his idea at first was Funko Fusion when we were spitballing stuff, and then I went to an IGN review, saw it got a 4 out of 10, and maybe saw the worst gameplay of all time, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Let's just rock with it.
Bench, how do you feel about that?
I wish it was a little cheaper, but I'll get it whenever I.
Oh, I don't know what they price. I'll be honest. I don't know.
Oh, dude, it was full priced.
It's it's $30 right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I remember it came out at full price at like $60.
Oh yeah, it came out at 60.
Oh my gosh.
You didn't think to check the price
No,
beforehand?
we didn't think to do that. But $30, you don't have to buy it immediately.
No, I'm gonna wait until next week
Yeah.
when I get those PSN gift cards or whatever.
You have to use Christmas cards of Funko
Yeah.
Fusion.
Okay, Fusion, maybe you went too far.
Well,
This
not
is-
just me. This is for one. Funko Fusion was Bop's idea. I get
I'm
no
going
shine.
to. I'll do you one better, Fusion. I'm gonna make this the first game I beat in 2025. So all year it's gonna be like the top of the games I beat in order.
I love that. I love that actually. That's a good sport. Because obviously some of the other ones to throw out we thought about Hellblade 2.
Oh, dude. I
I
mean,
don't
he would
have
have
Xbox.
he would have liked it.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Oh.
Xbox.
Dude loves his stories.
So I was like, well, he can't play that. He doesn't have Xbox. Bop really wanted you to play that car game where you can get out of your car.
Yeah. I mean, that's on PC. You wouldn't have been able to play
I'm just
it.
saying, but he said it's also on console. We looked at that and it was on console. But like
Oh, okay.
we wanted to find, and then Bop, this is up to you. Bop really wants you to play the PS4 version of Funko Fusion, not the PS5 version. He wants you locked behind that PS4 version. But
I'm surprised you wouldn't ask him to play the Switch version.
that was just too much like stipulations where I'm like, we're already giving him Funko Fusion.
Yeah.
Like,
The Switch version, oh man.
and you like I don't know much about Funko Fusion, but I feel like you're a guy who collected Funko Pops once in their life.
Yeah.
So like
I still
He's
do.
close.
exactly. So this is up your alley. We were helping you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Bench admitted on the air he collects Funko Pops. I mean, honestly, that's the worst thing about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that game. I know it's like it has a story and it takes 10 hours to show the credits, and I feel like you'll be loving it.
Yeah, I'll make
It
it the
is-
first 2025 the game I beat in 2025 after Dragon Age and the other one I'll play this year. So
Okay.
yeah.
Dude, it is genuinely a horrible video game. I actually think this is a little much. That game is not good at all.
It can't be worse than Balan Wonderland or whatever, Wonderworld, whatever it's called.
I'm glad you didn't give me that.
How long is Balan Wonderworld? I think they're around the same length. Let me check. I mean, like Funko Fusion's like a shooter, right? I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's like over the shoulder. You're shooting, you're doing things. I mean,
I
it didn't
think-
look terrible.
Yeah, Balan Wonderworld's 11 hours, so it's longer. I will say that is probably better than Balan because, like, I think even a shitty shooter is better than a shitty platformer. A shitty platformer, that's just.
I
Yeah.
think Binks can get some fun out of this.
Don't
game.
don't sugarcoat it, Fusion.
No, I don't think it's going to be horrendous, but I think like it's
Well,
even co-op. I think if you get a friend who
I
wants
mean,
to play it with you,
At
No
least-
one is gonna want to play it with them.
I mean, at least for a little bit, it's gonna be my number one game of 2025 backlog game of the year.
it might
has
be
a
couch
50
co-op.
Days.
Get your roommate to load it up with you.
It has a 53 on OpenCritic. What does Balan have?
53. That's doable.
Oh, hey, it's higher than Balan. Balan has a
Look.
48.
Exactly. We're helping you.
Also, like a bad platformer is terrible.
Exactly.
'Cause you can't
This way you're
even
just
jump in that game without power ups, and that's terrible.
No, Bench. Every time you get a platformer, or every time you get a power up, you lose your jump.
Yeah. I could never.
Insanity. It's
Why did they
literally
make that video game?
every button does the same thing. I played through that shit. I'm telling you, there is no other game in this world that fascinates me more than Balan Wonderworld. I have no idea how it was made.
Is that guy still in prison? Is he like locked up?
No,
still?
Yuji Naka never went to prison.
He didn't go.
That's a damn shame.
He should have gone to prison for Balan.
This is what you get for going to the Game Awards. You lost. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but I
You
was
sh-
at the Game Awards, so I kind of still won.
exactly. You won at the end of the day.
Fusion, did you see Bench's predictions? Like what he actually predicted?
Oh yeah, I was here during his prediction episode, and I watched the podcast.
Jack only
of
beat
the
me by 1
predictions, and it's
point.
like-
Let's not act like that was
which is
terrible.
crazy. You two were just firing from the hip and missing terribly.
Bench said for best multiplayer Black Ops 6. And
The game.
for best sports/racing NBA,
NBA,
2K.
yeah.
I heard it was
That's
good
what-
this year.
But like when
No, it's never good.
I feel like when the Call of Duty guy, me, doesn't pick Black Ops 6 for best multiplayer, and the sports guy, me and Bob, don't pick 2K, maybe you shouldn't.
If me and Jack would have tied, we would have had to play Funko Fusion together.
Oh, that would have been awesome. That actually, if you guys had to co-op it, that would have been awesome.
Honestly, an even bigger throw to me is Bench saying Pokemon TCG for best mobile.
Great. I played every day.
Yeah, Bench, did you really think it was going to be Balatro?
Well, I heard like some people have issues with Balatro on mobile, and I thought it would sweep everywhere else.
You let Bop is
in his
the only
landscape
person.
mode.
He is
Yeah,
literally
so
the only person.
So I thought like they'd give it to Pokemon because it's a good game.
Hey,
Unironically though, here's the thing that would have tied you guys though, is that Fusion was able to bring Bench down with games for Impact by saying Neva. And I think that convinced Bench to choose Neva as well. Oh, actually, no, it wouldn't have mattered because we all got that wrong.
oh yeah, I was say you guys didn't believe in the Neville hype.
Wait, Neva won, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm such an idiot. I'm so sorry. Okay, never mind. Bench was right there.
Yeah,
Damn, I don't know
Neville won.
why I thought it lost.
Nope.
My bad. Alrighty. Well, that's all the Game Awards, all awards talk. Before we get into the news as well, I do want to talk holiday break gaming. We're having a break. What are you guys thinking of playing this holiday weekend?
Man, I really got to finish Dragon Age by the end of the year, and I still have like 50 hours left on top of holiday.
50?
Yeah,
It's a long game.
I mean,
Isn't it a 50-hour game?
No, I mean
not the way me and Fusion play.
I put 67 hours into it when I roll credits.
So yeah, I still got a good chunk of that, and then I want to beat one more game because then like I won't have like a weird number on like GG. It'll be like the 3 rows all the way down. So probably finish up Balatro. 'Cause I can like kind of do that whenever, or the Prince of Persia DLC. That's short.
I mean, finishing up Balatro might be the play. It's not that hard to win with a deck
Yeah.
if you're a pro like me.
You're a
You-
pro.
yeah. I mean, the other one was Silent Hill 2, but I just really locked in with that game and crushed it.
That's good to hear. Fusion, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of my holiday is like I'm stuck in Baldur's Gate 3 world, so like I'm just hoping I have a short work week next week. I got like a 5-day weekend coming up. I'm like, let me just put some long hours, and because I'm like 15 hours in, my goal was to beat. Like I told myself, I'm like, I'll beat this. This will be my December game, and we're 20 days into December, and I have 15 hours. So obviously, that didn't work.
I feel like Fusion, because you do the whole like, oh, I'm gonna lock in. This is my one game. Do you think maybe that works against you when it comes to long RPGs? Because
Yeah, it does.
I'll say this about Baldur's Gate 3. I would have fucking hated it if it was the only game I played when I was playing through it. I feel like that's a game you need to take breaks.
And I have thought about we talked a few days ago about like maybe playing the Ratchet and Clanks or something, and I still might. I'm gonna load up my PlayStation at some point and look at either Sly or probably Jack and Daxter because they're all on they're natively on PlayStation now.
You'd be so
You don't have
kind
to
if
use
you
the whole
did that.
cloud stuff, and it's like I think those would be like the perfect games to play alongside of Baldur's Gate. Like these little
100%.
platformers that are just like 20 years old, like they've been on the backlog for my whole life. I feel like those would be a perfect example to play next to Baldur's Gate because it's such a difference in everything. So I might do some of that and might start this holiday break, but I really do like I'm at a point where I have found a groove in Baldur's Gate. Like I was just playing it earlier today, put a few hours in, but it's still that game right now for me where I get off work and I look and I'm like, this game is just so big, and I feel like you have to be so in it when you're playing it. You can't casually play it. I explain Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is the same way that I explain like a Valorant, stick with me, a Valorant or a CS2 or even a Rainbow Six Siege, like those type of competitive games, even though it's not a competitive game, where you can't just you can't leave it for weeks and come back and leave it for a few days and come back. When you play those type of games, you have to be on it every day, involved into it, or it feels like such a chore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to feel that way with Baldur's Gate right now, where it's like, I don't want to be, and that's the headspace I'm in some days where I work a full work day, and I'm like, Baldur's Gate feels like a chore and not playing video games right now, so I don't want to play it.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you, man. It's like it feels like, I mean, listen, Fisher, let's be honest, we've gotten older and like we have a lot more responsibilities, we have more shit to work on. And at that point, it's like we don't, these long RPGs are just way harder for us. And it's not a case of like we don't want to play them. It's just when you finally get all your work done for the day, when you finish all your schoolwork, your work, anything like that, I feel like the last thing I want to do at that point is look at menus. And it's not even like a
100%.
disrespect. It's just like, I'm like, okay, time to play a game. And you're just clicking buttons, and it's like, okay, set up this character like this. It's like, it feels like a chore, even though it's not. It's a great game. It's a phenomenal game. I love Baldur's Gate 3. But it's also just like, this is not what I want to play right now. It's kind of why Rebirth and Metaphor have been like sitting there for so long for me. And like, I really want to play them, but I'm also like, I don't right now.
And the combat doesn't no favor for this type of, it feels like a chore thing, because everything is so slow and turn-based and like, it would be slightly different if I knew I could shut my brain off during the combat and like hack and slash or like classic action. You can't. If you shut your brain off during this combat, you lose. You die. Yep. You're not winning. You just spent 30 minutes and now you have to redo the entire fight. So it's that type of thing where you can't casually play Baldur's Gate the way I want to casually play it at times, because it's so in depth. There's so many features happening. There's so many menus you're going through that like there is no casual play right now. The casual play is me walking around and talking to NPCs and doing side stuff, and that stuff is fun. But there's some days I just want to turn the brain off and literally combat. Like I just want to hack and slash something, and Baldur's Gate can't deliver that for me. So I think I do have to play something over the holiday break that's like, I'm just gonna shut the brain off and I'm just gonna hit X or the entire time, or like do something of that nature.
I definitely think you should jump on Jack and Daxter if you want something chill, like vibes based. Maybe just throw on maybe a podcast or a show and just play that, because it is super relaxing, very short, and it's a very fun, easy, no holds barred platformer. It's very much I think Sly 1 is great, but I think Sly 1 really suffers from like a lot of like, it is a lot jankier than Jack 1, and also there is some really dumb mini games. Like a lot of bullshit where it's like, no, you're on a vehicle. It's like, oh, okay. Jack 1 doesn't really have any of that, so I think that's what I would personally choose. I think that's like the perfect thing you want.
I wanted, like I told you, I wanted Ratchet and Clank, but like all the hypothetical emulation stuff on PC,
allegedly,
it's just like not happening right now. Like I could find a way if I really want to, but the ease of access has gone down because of that whole Nintendo stupid, like all of that stuff. The ease of access is definitely, it's still like I could 100% go out of my way and do it. I just haven't yet. So the fact that Jack is such an easy, I can load the PlayStation up, pay some money. It's not free, but like,
it's like $10.
Yeah, I was just saying, pay $10 or whatever and load them up. I feel like that's probably the move.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I very much recommend it to you. I think you will eventually beat Baldur's Gate 3, and I think you will eventually go like, this is an all-timer. Kind of like how you felt with Cyberpunk, where you were not feeling it at first. Because honestly, Fusion, I don't know if you feel, I feel like the beginning of RPGs are always the worst for me.
Oh, they are. I would 100% agree. The beginning of RPG, it always feels like, unless you're very specific ones, they always feel like just a small, like a time slows. Like every RPG, it feels like you're going in slow motion.
Yeah, always there is no feeling greater than like when you're playing a really long RPG and then you just have like a Saturday or something and you have like a 5-hour block, you're in the middle of the game and it just kind of like is a flow state.
Yes.
And you don't even notice. Like you don't even, it's just like you check the time, it's like, I haven't eaten dinner yet, fuck. I do think I hope you get back to it, because that is an awesome game. It's just that, like you said, very long. And like it feels like games are getting longer and longer, man. It's just, it ain't the best for when you get older. but let's actually get into the news. We talked a lot. There is actually still a good amount of news for today, so it's not like we're just yapping about nothing. Kadokawa and Sony, this saga is finally over, and not in the way that I think either of us really expected. Sony Group Corporation and Kadokawa Corporation to form strategic capital and business alliance from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Sony has signed a strategic capital agreement with Kadokawa to conduct a third-party allotment on January 7, 2025 to acquire 12,054,100 new shares for approximately 50 billion yen, the company announced. With this acquisition, Sony becomes Kadokawa's largest shareholder, holding approximately 10% of its shares, including the shares it previously acquired in February 2021. Sony does not plan to acquire additional Kadokawa shares after the execution of this acquisition. So, effectively, what this means is Sony will have the majority of the shares, and so they have I forget what exactly it is. They are the leaders of Kadokawa, but Kadokawa is still very independent. So this is honestly, in my eyes, kind of a best case scenario. I don't know how you guys feel.
I mean, I guess you think it's a done deal after this. I think this leads to acquisition in the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe it's like a longer term thing, but I do think acquisition is coming because obviously I think it's still an end goal.
That's the thing. Anything can happen in 5 to 10 years, but I'm mostly talking about short term. It seems like this is not an acquisition.
I mean, do we know if Bandai is not going to be publishing FromSoft anymore?
They haven't stated anything, but like they're doing Night Rain, and it doesn't seem like this deal changed that publishing agreement at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. I almost. Sorry, I'll continue. Go ahead.
I'll say I'm not. This might be copium, and I don't want PlayStation to get them. So like at the end of the day, I don't want this to happen. I still feel like this is trying to quiet the noise a little bit, and then within months, this will be a full-on acquisition. I don't think this is a year's thing. I genuinely believe. Again, I could be completely out of left field and like completely wrong. I still feel like this is 100% going to be an 100% like they're going to acquire them sometime early 2025, and we're not even going to think about it because they put this out there to me to be like, hey, let's quiet the noise. We know that everyone's looking at us and waiting for this big acquisition. Let's give these people something. Let's give these shareholders something. Let's give the gamers something to grasp on and go completely silent for the next 3 months. And then it's going to hit random marks of 2025. Fully, they have been bought. That's how I take it. Is that the way I want it to happen? No. I think this is good enough where it's like, okay, they've strengthened their bonds. PlayStation is going to get a little more out of it. They might have more say in specific things. They're not going to have a lot of say, especially, but they're still going to have more influence in certain stuff, perhaps, and maybe more like, again, money coming in. But I still fully believe at the end of the day, both these companies want to be one at some point, and we're going to see it.
I agree.
I think this is just one of those things. I feel like this is such a weird situation because I just don't think we understand this Japanese business world enough to really make informative decisions on like whether or not like this leads into an acquisition. Because I feel like if this was the US, it's like, oh, this is clearly leading into an acquisition. But everything that we're seeing here, it seems like they both are very happy with just wanting like majority shares. Because what this does, the big thing is that it feeds off the hostile takeover from that Korean company. I forget the name of it, but there was a Korean company buying a bunch of Kadokawa shares. This completely negates that. So Kadokawa does not have to worry about a hostile takeover anymore. Sony has majority rule. So it works for both parties involved, but I just wonder, it's like, is Sony, I don't want to say greedy enough, but aggressive enough to want full control over the company? It all comes down to that.
I believe they are greedy enough.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys think, to talk about the gaming side of it, like, let's just say that this is what it is for now, just the majority shares. Is that going to change anything in regards to FromSoft publishing? Like, are we going to see PlayStation publish their later FromSoft titles after Night Rain?
I don't believe so. No, I don't think anything changes.
I think if they buy them, then they'll start publishing. But other than that, I think they keep the agreement with Bandai for now.
I'm very interested. This is a very interesting. I'll say this though. Sorry, Ben. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to say for Bandai, I mean, you'd have to imagine a ton of their revenue comes from FromSoft games, and we already know they're struggling even with that. So what if that were to go away?
Yeah, they would not be very happy.
Mhm.
And that is just the thing where it's like I wonder how much kind of ability Bandai has in these negotiations if they can come in and like maybe block the deal or say like no, we want to at least publish the game, stuff like that. And I don't think they would if the acquisition goes through.
And if I had to guess, they probably have some sort of contract for announced and unannounced games, and they'd have to fulfill that before they can get back on the negotiating table. Or Sony could just like buy the thing out and just say, no, we want to publish.
And there was another wrinkle. I think that this comes down to Kadokawa did not want to. Sony does not want all of Kadokawa. That's something that's well known. They do not want like their books publishing, their light novels, all that stuff. There were the other aspects of Kadokawa's business. They were wanting the anime and manga and the gaming side of Kadokawa. That's what they actually cared about. But Kadokawa wants them to acquire the whole thing. So maybe this was a situation where it's like, this works best for all parties because you don't want to sell off, like, you don't want to buy every part of our business, but we don't want to, like, piecemeal everything. Do you guys think maybe that's why they went with this kind of majority share approach?
I mean, I just think it's to have closer collaborations and maybe just learn the ins and outs of the business and see if maybe they keep how it is or maybe they see, like, we can make this work, we want to just buy it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we will see. I think there's going to be... This is a story that is finished, quote unquote, but I feel like we're going to start to see more and more about it over the next few months. Mm-hmm. Moving on to our next story. Xbox is in the news again. Whoa, put a surprised emoji. Tom Ivan at VGC has this. Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. It's been claimed. All Xbox's first-party games are reportedly being planned for PlayStation 2. That's according to Windows Central executive editor Jez Corden, who discussed his understandings of Microsoft first-party strategy in a series of X posts this weekend. Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. Everything is timed exclusive at most, he claimed. If some games are exclusive, it's going to be incidental at best. The case-by-case argument is by and large going to be multi-plat timed and with maybe a few, very few outliers, Corden later added. And responding to a user who said he didn't believe Xbox's upcoming Fable game would come to PlayStation, Corden wrote, that game was monstrously expensive. It might not be day one, but it'll come with the current plan in place, IMO. So very much, I guess you could say like informed speculation coming from Jez, but also it seems like he has a lot of insiders within Xbox. It seems very much they're going for this full multi-plat strategy going forward. The question is how much they're going to do timed exclusive versus a full-on just multi-plat day one. And I feel like that timed exclusive window is going to become shorter and shorter as time goes on. What do you guys think?
I think by 2026 there's no timed exclusive window because we already know Doom is day one, Outer Worlds is day one, and you can say, well, they're part of Bethesda. Bethesda's been a part of Xbox for 4 or 5 years now, before those games were in development. So I think it's just like those are really games that are coming day one to PlayStation, and I'm interested because we know Indies in the spring, and I think if that decision were to happen now, I think Indie would have been day one if they were with current information. It would have just been day one on PlayStation, mm-hmm. And I'm curious because we don't know about Avowed, and I want to play Avowed, but I don't have an Xbox, so I hope that comes pretty soon because that looks good. But I mean, I do think
you sell yours?
I did.
Hell yeah, man! I wish I could.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I just think everything's going to day one, and by the end of 2025 for sure. Like I think Fable, I mean, it could be timed, but also it could be day one, and I think they're going to keep saying like case by case, but I think it's going to become clear that it's just day one pretty soon because I think that's what Satya wants, and you can very clearly see from some of the quotes he puts out that's exactly what he wants, and I think that's just going to happen. But I think once they launch, we're going to see what happens with the indie and delayed, and they're going to we probably could have gotten more money from this. And then you're going to see what happens with Doom on PS5 as well, and then probably Outer Worlds 2 on PS5. And those are probably going to sell better than the games that are only on Xbox and PC by a lot.
I mean, Satya Nadella even outright stated it's like, we are redefining what it means to be an Xbox fan. Like, verbatim, that's what he said. It's clear. It's like, yeah, he very much wants that type of stuff to happen. I mean, Fusion, I will say, I am sitting in a call with 2 people who sold their Xboxes. So I am now officially the biggest Xbox fan in here.
You're the biggest Xbox fan here.
Yeah, with 4 hours on Xbox this year. So I'm so sorry, Bob.
Yeah, I'm just okay. I think I've been saying this for 6 months now. I'm just so sick of the 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing.
Yep.
Like,
100%.
rip the Band-Aid. I think we were here in literally January of this year after that like direct that they always do,
February.
where I was where I was like, dude, I'm sick of not knowing. Just rip the Band-Aid. Like I don't at this point, you have nothing. You're not benefiting anyone from being like having people like Jez Corden have to come out and leak things and be like, yeah, we're not, like the exclusives are done, but we don't know to what point, and like they might be time stuff, but not every game will be the same time. It doesn't make any sense. If you are just going to be a big time third party publisher, rip the Band-Aid off, put your games on everything. Obviously, at this point, you don't care about the hardware and you want the software sales. Put it on PC, put it on PlayStation day one, put it on Switch 2 day one if the Switch can run it. Like, just put it everywhere. And it sucks because that was the reason I was able to sell my Xbox, while I also built a PC. So, but like, that's the reason someone like Bench can sell his Xbox, is because he doesn't need it anymore for the exclusives. But at the end of the day, you guys are basically done with exclusives. You've admitted defeat. Exclusives won't help you anymore at this point. You've said it yourselves, even though everyone else thinks they actually would help you. But Xbox are like, nah, it actually won't help. Just move on. Let's put everything on everything. You've already announced Outer Worlds 2 with a PS5 logo. Again, we don't know when it's coming, though. Is that a day one? Is that 6 months? Who knows? But we know it's coming to PS5. Indiana Jones coming to PS5. Doom, we know, is coming to PS5. The thing is, we just don't know when. And like, Xbox gained nothing from their consumers not knowing when. It's not like this isn't a PlayStation to PC type of thing where it's like, oh, a PC game. Even then, we have more of a way of, hey, it's usually a year. But with Xbox games, it's not even the same. We don't even know if it's the same 6 months, 3 months, a year. And it's annoying that Phil Spencer himself came out and was like, it's case by case. That's the worst thing you could do. If you can't even give us, hey, it will be 3 months, or hey, it will be 6 months, or hey, it will be 10 months, whatever it is. No, it's just case by case with games. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why is Outer Worlds 2 coming, but Starfield's been locked on the Xbox for the past year and is still have no PlayStation date? But Indiana Jones is 6 months. Like as a consumer, I'm just annoyed that I have no idea what the Xbox plan is, and it feels like they themselves don't know what their plan is, and they're just winging it. And we're all leading down to the same spot of them just ripping the Band-Aid off and putting it all day one anyway. So why not just speed the process?
And I think it's assumed that Doom and Outer Worlds 2 are going to be day one on PlayStation. I think that's what's
they already
assumed.
said with Doom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Outer Worlds 2, I think they put that PS logo in the launch. I think it's assumed that's just going to be day one. At least that's what I assume. And then
that there it is though, Bench. That's the problem. I assume. I wish they would just say yes, all of it is day one. Just say it. Like that's all. It's so easy.
And then for indie, it's not even 6 months. It's probably gonna be 3 or 4.
They want to get that immediately.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
the
we
thing.
don't know. Again, we don't even know the
play
indie date. Like, we don't know the indie date. Yeah, I guess that is true. I, for some reason, thought we had a date, but yeah, we just know it's like next year, like early next year, whatever they said, spring.
It's spring, which could be March or something.
Yeah, probably March. I don't know, man. And it's funny because it's like Indiana Jones apparently is really fucking good, but you two, well, actually, no, Fusion can because PC, but Bench can't play it at all because it's like, well, he sold his Xbox, and I don't blame Bench for selling his Xbox because there was nothing for him. And there was nothing for me. I joke about the 4 hours on Xbox played this year because I think it's funny. But also, I had no reason to turn on my Xbox. Even when it came to, like, there were games I was genuinely interested in, but I'm like, well, I'd rather just spend the money on PlayStation and own the title itself. Like, am I going to spend, like, yeah, sure, the Game Pass deal, okay, I play it for a month, but it's like, I'm not using Game Pass for anything else. It just would feel like a waste to me.
And you also have to assume with Xbox, which is honestly one of the bigger reasons that I sold it, is if I buy a game on Xbox, whether it's first party or third party, is the Xbox going to be around in 5 to 10 years? I mean, sure, you can say the same thing about PlayStation, but I have a lot more certainty that PlayStation will be around than Xbox will.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's where I'd invest my money, in third party games.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like it's like you said, Fusion. I feel like we keep having this conversation every time, and it's like at a certain point, just do it because it's clear that hardcore Xbox base, they know this is happening. It's not like this is a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise to them anymore.
Exactly. It's like they're trying to protect the super hardcore Xbox fans that we see on Twitter, and then it's like even they are just like, we know it's coming, dude. Let's just like stop giving anyone the benefit of the doubt and just do it. Like at the end of the day, I understand there's probably they're smarter than us. There's some statistics in the back where they're like, if we go full third party publisher way, it's going to affect our hardware sales for the next generation, which will 100% be true. If your game not only on Xbox, people will still buy that thing, whatever that thing is, for Game Pass and for just liking the Xbox ecosystem, but you're going to lose sales. But again, they're already losing so hard anyways that their hardware is the last of their worries. They don't care about that thing anymore, and they can't make it more obvious that they don't care about it anymore. So it's like, rip the Band-Aid. Let's put everything on everything, and the exclusives aren't helping you at this point. There's no putting Fable only on Xbox at this point does nothing.
And you say that the hardware sales would drop. They're already dropping. That's what's crazy. November video game hardware. Matt Piscatella put out the Circana report, which I wanted to go over for the game as usual. But there was a 29% year-on-year drop for the Xbox Series. Like both X and S, 29%. And it's like the hardware sales are already falling. It's not a plateau, it's a fall. It is falling substantially.
And that's a year with a pretty good game. This year has been pretty decent for Game Pass, in my opinion. Maybe not first party stuff, but Game Pass has had a lot of good stuff in it. So the fact that exactly. The fact that even Game Pass stuff was like pretty good this year, a better year than most, and they still aren't selling the consoles, is the fact that just rip the Band-Aid. Nothing like at this point you are losing so hard that you have to go fully in on your third party publisher Game Pass everywhere investment. Jump into it.
And I'll be honest, and this is going to sound crazy, I feel like timed exclusive is kind of a flounder too, because it's like, I'll say this, remember Rise of the Tomb Raider? It sold substantially less on PlayStation than it would have if it was sold on PlayStation day and date. And it's like, I feel like the timed exclusive nature of certain games actually really hurts them, and it is better to just be either full exclusive or, full multi-plat.
Yeah.
Oh no, I completely agree. I think timed exclusives is the dumbest thing in the industry. It's the one thing that I would rather have either full exclusivity or day and date on everything, because the double dip is not as impressive as people think it will. Like, even PlayStation games to PC, we're talking about the biggest PC. We're talking about Last of Us. All these PC games, they sell like 1 to 2 million more, maybe on the PC from going to PlayStation. But we're talking years later, where you could have had maybe 10 million sales off rip on that PC if God of War was day one, or if Last of Us was day one. I think that whole time exclusive thing is just, I don't think it ever works as well as people think it works.
100%. So yeah, Xbox, can't wait to talk about you probably next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. I am really sick of talking about Xbox. Can you guys tell?
I mean, I wouldn't be sick of talking about Xbox if it wasn't the same conversation every week about Xbox. It's the same conversations of Xbox doesn't know what they're doing. Like we don't have a plan set. We're talking about what is the Xbox plan, and every week we're like, I don't know.
Like at a certain point, it's like, you're this big of a company. There should at least be a consistent plan. Oh well. Bench, you've been very respectful, so I will let you talk about Trails.
Trails in the Sky. The first chapter got its like full English reveal, and it looks very good. Overall, pretty impressive. Finally, it was announced for other consoles other than Switch, which honestly I was very scared about.
Oh, was it? Wait, was it not? I forgot it was only for
announced
Switch.
For Switch. And honestly, it was kind of assumed it maybe not have just be a Switch game, because Falcom hasn't launched a full multi-platform title on like 2 consoles and PC in like over a decade. So that's just a pretty big deal. And overall, I mean, the remake just looks fantastic. The animations are like up to snuff with what current Trails is, and it's next fall. So I mean, there's a lot of Trails going on. There's Daybreak next year, Daybreak 2. There's assumed that maybe Kyle get translated, and then we have this. So I mean, I'm pretty hyped about everything.
Isn't it next fall? So like late in the year?
Yeah, it's late in the year.
Seems like a while. I don't know why. That's later than I would.
But we also, I mean, Daybreak 2 is in February, and it's very possible like the game after Daybreak 2, Kai, comes out maybe in the summer. It's either the summer or early 2026. So I'm hoping it's next year as well.
Well, I'd love to play it, but
Oh, sorry. That's a dumb question. This is a remake of the first game, right?
Yeah, very first game you can jump in.
Okay, that's what I thought. But you were like, the way you were explaining it made me sound like it was like a brand new game, but it's okay.
I mean it's full 3D remake. The first game is like
Is it
top
action
down
combat?
pixel. Yeah, it has action combat. Yes.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'd love to check it out, but I'm not allowed to play these games apparently.
He
Oh,
gate
my
kept me
fault.
too. Don't worry.
It's crazy because it's like I've literally played the game and liked it, so like
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm being gate kept from.
Maybe the other games just aren't as good, and he's saving you.
I don't. Yeah, he's like, please, no, you gotta understand. Dark keeps like getting mad at me whenever I say a first game of a series is good though. Like he hates how I like Kingdom Hearts 1 but hate 2. Screw that guy.
It's pretty funny though.
He
'cause
won't
you're the
listen
only
to
person
this, so we
who
can just
say
say
that.
screw that guy.
It's like, hey, Fusion, you don't understand. Every time I talk to Dark, when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 1, I was like, man, I really love this. Like, this is such a great moment. And he's like, oh, dude, that sucks compared to 2. Just you wait till 2. And every single fucking time, I'm like, man, this is a really special scene. Like, let's talk about it. It's like, dude, 2 has even better. And I play 2. I'm like, this sucks. You fucking asshole. He overhyped it.
People love their second entry in the trilogies, dude.
If we're gonna talk about it,
I don't know. He overhyped it. That's all I'll say.
we're gonna
Anyways.
talk about an anticipated remake that me and Wolf are very excited about.
Yet the 4th entry in a series, the Elder Scrolls
Mhm.
Oblivion Remake, could be revealed next month. It is claimed. This is from Mike Straw at Insider Gaming. The long anticipated remake of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion could be revealed next month. According to leaker Ecstasis, not only is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake real, but Xbox could announce the game at the Xbox Direct event in January. Not only could it be announced next month, but the game could be released sometime in 2025. Per previous rumors, the remake is being developed by Virtuos and is being built in Unreal Engine 5. Those rumors also hinted at a 2025 release for the game.
We were
I mean,
talking
hey, this
about
is
long
awesome.
games. Yeah, we're talking about long games though. We will be playing this though for sure. I think this is
Bethesda gets a
both.
pass.
Yeah, I think this is a game that both of us really have always wanted to play. It's just there's aged in a lot of different parts.
I tried original
I've
Oblivion
tried.
so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it, man. It's just not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's not that it's bad. I know it's a good game. I just think it's like it's just aged. It's a 2006 game, and like I feel like older RPGs, like Fusion, you would know this. You went back to Witcher 1. Old RPGs are way harder to go back to than other genres.
Yeah, but we also hear like this has some of the best Bethesda writing in its like factions and stuff, so it makes you really want to try. So I think, I'm very excited, and if this is next year, that's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean the factions, Dark
PlayStation.
Brotherhood, Daedric, Bench. This is PlayStation. Come on,
Please.
We don't even have to discuss this. I mean, Elder Scrolls is always on PlayStation.
Mhm.
Do you guys remember when, like, in 2021, when the Bethesda acquisition came around, we were like, "Oh, is Elder Scrolls 6 gonna be on PlayStation? Is Starfield gonna be?" It's like, God, dude, go back to those days. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Why
this
am I being?
is-
I feel like Binks is gatekeeping me from this remake. Like you said, you guys are the excited ones. He said, I just.
I mean,
Does
we're the
there-
Elder
Oh, well, no,
Scrolls
no,
guys.
I'm-
We're the Skyrim guys.
Well, no, I'm just curious. I mean, Fusion, you played Skyrim a little bit,
I
right?
have, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, does this remake do much for you?
Yes, if it's an actual remake of, hey, we made this modern. If it's going to be
Okay.
like anything close to we just remastered textures and like we like didn't mess with combat at all, no, it's
The
probably not a
combat's
thing
the
where
big
like
thing.
yeah, where if it's a thing where it's like I don't want to hear them say the words of we kept that classic combat feel. Like no, I don't want to hear that. I don't think anyone wants to
Nobody
hear
likes
that.
the combat in that game either.
Like, if
even
they
the
can-
fans.
Exactly. So if they can update the things that actually need updated and like keep the story as is, like I would be down with it. Again, Skyrim, that whole that Bethesda type of RPG has never been my thing. Like I've never been a huge Bethesda guy, but I would be down to jump into something like a remake where it's a Bethesda RPG, one of the very like best ones, but modernized. Like I would love to jump into that and like feel it out and see how it is. So I'm not like it's not on my radar, but it's not off my radar. It's kind of sitting in a place where it's like until I hear more of the actual remake that's being done, I have to like hinder my excitement a little bit because I'm worried, like I said, it's just a remaster type of thing where it's like, which I think, to be fair, I don't know if this is wrong. I swear I saw a tweet. I forget it was from Tom or someone else that did say like, this could be more of a remaster thing than a remake thing.
Oh.
And I hope
didn't
not.
see that.
Would you Wolf, would you be fine with if it's just the Skyrim combat? Because I would.
I was about to say, it's like literally, if it was just Oblivion and the Skyrim engine, I'd say it's one of the greatest games of all time.
Yep. Pretty simple.
I-
What do you think that comes with the DLC as well? Because we hear so many
Yeah,
good things
dude.
about the DLC.
Why wouldn't it come with the DLC?
Yeah.
It's it's a 20-year-old game at this point.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's a 20-year-old game.
Yeah.
It came
would
out
have
in
to be-
2006. Oh, we're so
Like, it's gonna be a full package of like Oblivion, like
Yeah.
complete edition, remake, whatever. They'll just put it all together.
Do you think do you guys think it's weird they're doing Oblivion before Morrowind?
I think Morrowind requires a much more thorough cleaning
Yeah.
than Oblivion does.
Yeah, to say it probably would take so much more effort to remake that one.
It
So,
kinda
like, they
seems
just start doing Oblivion.
Yeah, it seems like a Silent Hill 2 thing where it's like, yeah, we might as well go with maybe like the more popular one and also easier one to remake.
Mm-hmm.
Virtuos as well. They are working on Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, and they also worked on South Park Snow Day. So resume. I think they just ported Snow Day, but that's fine.
Yeah, I would just say they do a lot of ports and like remaster stuff. So
It's just going to the Wikipedia and seeing those as those first two games is so funny.
to give you some confidence.
But yeah, excited. It's the secret game probably at the developer direct, right? We all agree.
Yeah,
And-
I would agree.
Where in 2025? Like maybe I feel like a summer just kind of makes sense, like a July, August.
Maybe. What are your thoughts on, hey, it's a remake, we don't have to worry about sales. This is like the fall game next to GTA. Like if a company's scared, we know everyone's scared of putting next to GTA. If you're Xbox and you're like, okay, we have the Outer Worlds 2 and we have the Oblivion remake, I feel like I would rather push out the Outer Worlds 2 in a summer thing so that we could put Oblivion out in fall and it not get killed by GTA because we don't care if this remake sells as well.
I think
I have
I think if it's fall, you're gonna still want to wait for the GTA date because like you don't want to
Yeah.
release on the same day no matter what.
Oh, I don't think we'll get a release date on the
Until-
direct. I think they'll just say
Okay,
summer.
2025. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree there.
What about like Xbox has so many games next year. Fable is dated for next year, right? Fable. I mean, you have Fable.
No, it's just 2025.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Avowed, Fable, Doom,
Outer Worlds.
2, this, and they're all. All of them are long
South of
RPGs
Midnight.
besides Doom.
Yeah, South of Midnight.
All of those
mean,
are long RPGs.
Guys, I don't want to say it, but I think 2025 could be Xbox's year. The dominoes are finally in place.
I think it's gaming's year.
Oh, dude, yeah, 2025 is unreal. I mean, of those games, which game looks most interesting to you? You know my answer.
It'd probably be Oblivion, but like not a remake. Avowed or Outer Worlds 2, just because.
The Western
RPG.
RPG.
Yeah.
Mine's Fable, but we just also need to see more.
The thing is, like,
Yeah,
what
Fable's
is
way more.
Fable? So I know what to
Yeah.
expect. With
Cool, that's
Avowed
what
and Outer
Fable
Worlds
is. It's
2.
cool.
So yeah.
I mean, for me, it's easily.
Well, Doom,
But-
yeah, here's
yeah.
what we do.
When do you think Doom hits? Because that could be a game they date and it's out 3 or 4 months later.
I ironically think it's actually going to be like fall.
But
Like,
no,
I think they
I was
wanna-
thinking
Halloween.
I was
bro.
thinking May.
Dude, Halloween for Doom sounds so good. Listen, Bench, I
There's
would
no way to get
kill.
May.
I would kill if it came out in my birth month.
Because you have to
Dude.
think like Avowed comes out in February. So they're not going to have another game until the summer, and then they have like 4 different games.
No, South of
That
Midnight will
hasn't
be like
stopped Xbox before.
South of Midnight will be May or something.
I
Oh
think
my
South
god, is
Midnight
this
could
gonna
be
be a
July.
Hellblade thing again, where a game I don't care about comes out in my
Yeah,
birth
and
month?
100% is going to be
Yeah,
South of
I'll call
Midnight
it-
in May or something.
I'll call it now. It'll be February Avowed, May Doom, July South of Midnight, and then October Outer Worlds 2, and then Fable gets pushed.
Oh, you think Fable gets pushed? I think it
Yeah.
still hits. My thing is though, like recently Jeff Grubb was kind of talking about it. It's like a game that was undated got pushed out of 2025, and to me that kind of feels like Perfect Dark. But like
Dark is not
that
next
kind of
year.
tells me, I don't know. I think there was a possibility where it was next year.
I think it was.
At
next
least
year.
they internally, and then they pushed it
Mm.
recently, according to Jeff
Perfect
Grubb.
Dark would if Perfect Dark was coming out next year, that would have been my number one from Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, immersive sim Perfect Dark sounded sick. It though, like in the case of like Fable, though, it's like I feel like you've been working on this game for 5 years. I almost feel like they're like, well, we need to kind of get this ready. Like we need to push this out eventually.
That's why I think they will have a deep dive next month because we need that gameplay, raw gameplay. Like we've seen the Fable 3 times now over like 5 years, and we've never seen like an actual raw gameplay.
I think that's the summer deep dive game.
Oh, like
I think that's what you do. I think that because I don't think Outer Worlds 2 or Doom are big enough to get that 30-minute deep dive at the end of the direct.
Oh, brother,
Doom is more than big enough. Yeah, I think Doom.
I'm talking about like you don't really need a 30-minute deep dive on Doom.
They've done it before. Doom Eternal got 30 minutes.
Just show me a level. You could put a whole 30-minute level out there.
Exactly.
I still think like you need to do that with Fable more than any of those.
I mean,
that's because I'd say on the terms of like Xbox scale, I think Fable is on the same level of like scale as maybe like a Starfield in terms of what some of the Xbox guys are hyping it up to be. And I think so you need that big thing.
I think Doom is a bigger I think Doom is a bigger franchise than you're giving it credit.
I would say Doom would outsell Fable like 2-1, I think.
I also think Doom could be before the summer showcase, so then just deep dive it in January.
Dude, I hate Bethesda. They never give exact sales data. I'm trying to find sales data for Doom. Seems like it's usually hovers around 5 to 6 million. And honestly, that seems more than Fable. And I think Doom: The Dark Ages just, I don't know, something about that game feels like it's going to be way bigger than we expect.
It looks great. Medieval Doom, come on. Best genre.
Get me in there, man. Give me Doom. Moving on to the worst genre, sci-fi. No, I'm kidding. Shinobi posted this. Recently, Exodus got a full gameplay trailer. Shinobi goes on to talk about a lot of this. Listen, it's a trailer. I'll let you guys talk about it.
It looks very good. It's made by former Mass Effect and BioWare people, and I think just everything they're saying, because me and Fusion have kind of been on keeping an eye on all like the videos they put out every couple weeks. So this is just like the first gameplay deep dive, and it looks it's third person. It looks great. I'm just overall just want to see more, and I'm pretty excited for this. What about you, Fusion? You can talk more about it than me.
Yeah, for one, screw Bop. That dude he's a hater. I hope he's listening. I hope you're listening, Bop. What I was about to
that dude was hating on this. It's like just another sci-fi game. Oh, what a loser!
Okay, to act as the contrarian, all I'll say is I feel like I've been burned before by ex-BioWare devs because I feel like there's so many projects that are ex-BioWare devs and they either don't come out or are disappointing.
But did they also have ex-Naughty Dog and ex-Santa Monica devs? They're doing heavy lifting over there.
Yeah, but like they were fired for a reason, bench. No, I'm kidding. Also, I don't know why I said bench there. Sorry.
Yeah, that was gonna mess up. I was gonna hit him with the Meet the Grahams at the end where King just is going off a Drake, calling him a liar. But no, I understand. I did not nearly as much as Bop put into my mind. I like when you go to the YouTube page, you go to Twitter. Even the thing Jeff tweeted out, a lot of people were like, "Why wasn't this at the showcase?" Or like. People were like, "Why?" The cat thing was one. They're like, "Why didn't you put this thing instead of the AI cat?" Like this trailer was sick. Like I was actually happy with so many people who saw this gameplay deep dive and was really into it. Like I think that's awesome. For one, they botched the reveal. They did it with a Twitch streamer named Co Carnage, I think is his name.
Oh, Co Carnage, he's awesome.
Yeah, he was 10 minutes late. Okay. By the time it started, he didn't have the correct audio. It was just bad. Like he had. The devs were there, which was a nice surprise, but then he didn't even have the dev boxes correctly. They were like renamed. The names fitting under the boxes wasn't the actual dev above them. Anyway, it wasn't a great showing at first, but after a refresh and after 20 or so minutes, they got it going and like it was fine. But I think they definitely boxed that instead of just putting the trailer out there. There was like 20,000 plus people watching, which I thought was impressive. I don't know how much Co Carnage normally gets. Like I don't know much about him, but there was 20. Yeah, there was 20,000 plus people watching, so I was like, I think that's a lot. Like that felt like a lot for this game. Where, for example, I'm not hating on the Indie Awards, but the Indie Awards were last night, and the most I ever saw was 800 live viewers. I understand that's two different things, but like, that made me sad compared to the Exodus reveal having like 20,000 plus. I'm like, this is awesome. Like they're getting eyes on. They went into deep dive. They talked more in depth. The secret level director was there, he was an awesome dude. But he was someone where I found myself almost muting the stream because I was so worried he was gonna spoil things. And I'm like, I've never had to deal with that. Like as a dev, like devs know, like to not say certain things. But for some reason, his aura, he was so excited that I just felt like he was gonna spill the beans of something, and I was scared. But from the actual gameplay, I've been hyping up Exodus for like since it's been shown last year. I wish they gave a date to this. That kind of sucks. I still believe it is next year, and I think they're just not showing a date because again, GTA, all these third-party devs, they're just not giving dates right now because they're genuinely terrified of GTA eating their lunch. So there hasn't been a date. But from a gameplay perspective, they gave me everything I wanted. They showed me cool. It looks very Mass Effect, and I've seen a lot of people say it just looks like Mass Effect. Why would we not want just looking like Mass Effect? We're talking about one of the best trilogies of all time, one of the best space fictions of all time. Like if you're giving me anything, even half of the level of Mass Effect, and we gotta remember, this is their first project. Compare this, granted, it's been 12 plus years. I mean, almost 20 years of the first Mass Effect, different age of gaming. But compare what their project as their first game is going against like a Mass Effect 1. I think those are the fair comparisons when you're talking about lore and world building. This isn't a second game in the entry. This isn't a third game in the series. This is the first attempt. So this is the groundwork. Whatever they're showing you now is as low as it's going to get, hopefully. So that just makes me excited to see what they're going to do. I thought the combat, some of the guns, honestly reminded me of Dead Space, which is a little weird, but they had this one specific. Does anyone remember the Dead Space remake gun where it was like, it was not like a shotgun, but I don't know if it shot needles or what it did, but it like took off limbs very easily. I don't know what I'm even trying to say, but it was a cool weapon. It was a really cool weapon, and there was a weapon in this trailer that gave me those vibes, and I think I could see bops like, oh, some of these stuff looks generic. Where some of the enemies, yeah, just were like basic sci-fi stuff, but then you also had talking frogs and space bears. I've never played a game in my life where I have space bears with turrets on their back. That doesn't scream generic to me. You know what I mean? Maybe some of the character models were generic. Yeah, like you're just a male dude. But like, I think for the most part, this is really impressive, and I'm very excited to see how people around social media has kind of grasped through this idea of, hey, don't let us down. I think the whole ex-Bioware stuff, like you said, Wolf, like makes it like they have an expectation they need to set, and I hope their expectations don't go too far. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to deliver on at least a quality product.
I do want to believe. I feel like it just feels like the amount of times we see, oh, we're trying to capture the spirit of Mass Effect. It's like, I almost feel like, I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like Mass Effect was such a lightning in a bottle trilogy where it's like, I don't think you could really do that again, even if you put your heads into it. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I guess I'm just waiting for like, what's the like catch with this game? Like, what's the thing about it that's like, oh, that's not good? Is the combat boring? Is the story like nonsensical? Does the ending sound like all these things that could possibly happen? But also, I want to be optimistic and believe like, no, it's just actually just a really fucking sick sci-fi shooter, and Mass Effect fans are very happy with it. I want to believe.
And you guys know my favorite thing in the industry is new games and new IPs. I mean, new dev teams and new IPs. That's my one thing where it's like, for some reason, I love it. I love when someone sets a new world up. So I have a little bit of bias, and I have more optimism than most, and I know that. And again, they're working with my favorite genre ever. I am a sci-fi guy. So it is a lot of stuff that screams me, and I understand for other people, it's not going. They can't be all in until they see something that's like actually worth of. Hey, we got previews, we got hands-on. Like I understand the worries, but for me, I'm just like so in already that like anything less than great is probably going to disappoint me. So I'm setting myself up for failure while you guys are kind of guarding your heart, which is the smarter way to go about it. But I'm just too excited. It's just like I haven't felt a reveal up to a game this much in years because, like Bink said, they drop things almost every week. They drop new lore. They do everything. They have a book. They're working on a movie they want to work on. I mean, they're going fully in on this world they're building where I've never seen a game do that ever before.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think there is a possibility this comes out and it bangs. So I want to put my faith in that it will bang and that you are very happy, Fusion. I like it when you're happy, Fusion. That's why.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We made it sound awkward. No, whatever. Far Cry. This is you again, Fusion. God damn, this is a Fusion week. Tom Henderson had this exclusive. Ubisoft wants to change the Far Cry formula with Far Cry 7 and Maverick. In 2023, Insider Gaming had several reports on the Far Cry series throughout the year. Notably, the Far Cry series currently has 2 games in development, which were built originally under the same game and codenamed Talisker. Its next mainline title is now under the codename Blackbird, and an extraction-based shooter is under the codename Maverick. Sorry. Both games are still in development at the time of writing, but the release dates have been pushed back internally from 2025 to 2026 due to complexities in development. Moving from Dunia to Snowdrop and under development at Ubisoft Montreal, both games are set to move away from the Far Cry formula. Maverick, the extraction shooter, takes place in the Alaskan wilderness. We'll see players fight one another, animals, and the harsh weather to survive. On the flip side, Blackbird will now see the player have to rescue his family, not played by Cillian Murphy, who have been kidnapped by a conspiracy cult who have been performing hallucinogenic experiments on animals and children. It is said that the player has 24 real-life hours, 72 hours in-game to rescue their family, and the timer is reflected in-game by the player wearing a watch on his wrist. Seems like Far Cry is undergoing some type of change. I forget who was talking about this last night. I was watching a podcast about it, but it's so frustrating with Ubisoft because I'm always like, God, this idea sounds so cool, and I'm just waiting for the catch. Because I feel like the ideas around Far Cry 6 and around so many of their games is so good, but like there's some type of thing that like stops them from going all the way, and it feels like they keep playing it safe. I really love the 72-hour clock idea. I think that is such a sick plan for like whatever you can do to change up the Far Cry formula. A franchise that is, let's be honest, extremely stale. We are 6 games in, and it feels like most of the games just play like Far Cry 3. And so I'm hoping whatever Far Cry 7 is, like this 72-hour clock thing, I hope it's a banger. I hope it's an idea that actually like is fully allowed to exist rather than some producer coming in and saying, no, scrap that. Players aren't going to want to be beholden to some clock system, blah, 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 all this bullshit. And get rid of that. Just make it normal Far Cry. Like, that's just my current worry about that. Maverick, go to hell. I don't want to play an extraction shooter.
That's messed up, man.
Dude, you're not, no, because I remember you said in the Discord, it's like, why did the Alaskan one have to be the extraction shooter?
True.
I know you're not excited either.
That is true, but I do think I've been on record saying an extraction shooter with Far Cry mechanics would be dope. I'm just mad that I think to me the cooler setting is the Alaskan setting. So I just wish I don't think the extraction shooter itself will be like sucks. I just wish they would flip the settings where it's like we just were on an island with not GTA Far Cry 6. So like I don't want to be on another island, and then we have Far Cry 3, which was not. I mean, at this point, 12 years ago, but we've had 2 island games in the last 2 entries compared to. We had 1 Montana game, which would be the closest we could get to Alaska. I just think Alaska would be so cool. And I'm not even a big snow person, but you can do the tundra. You can do a lot of stuff with Alaska, which I think would be really cool. I'm with you with. I think the time limit thing is cool in concept if it works. I will say, as you were talking, I do have those slight in the back of my mind things of, oh, this kind of sucks. I like taking my time and like going and taking out every outpost in Far Cry and stealth. I know, I am the problem. But like Far Cry stealth is like top 5 stealth systems for me, which might sound crazy, but I love the Far Cry stealth. You give me a bow and arrow and you give me the stealth takedowns in Far Cry, and I would sit there all day and do that. Like in all the outposts, I'll do them all. I'll do them undetected, no radar. Like I love when Far Cry does that. That's my only pushback is, yes, this idea sounds better, but I hope I can still do I hope the time doesn't become a thing where I now feel rushed to not complete what I want to complete.
I assume there may be a accessibility feature, maybe like that says turn off the timer. Though that just goes against the whole game.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think they will. I think they're fully going to just revamp it, which is fine. 100%. We have said for years that Far Cry needs a revamp, especially an engine revamp, which sounds like they're doing, because in that article it talks about new movement, new sliding, all that, which is awesome. And it does need at its core it needs to be better than what Far Cry 3's formula was, which was 12 years ago. We don't need a Far Cry that comes out next year or 2026, whatever year, 14 years later after Far Cry 3, and it be the exact same formula. You're going to set it up for failure. So if they can still have that Far Cry love of, hey, we're going to make a really good villain there is going to be an open world here you can explore, but we're changing a lot of the core mechanics and formula. I think they really could do something special with Far Cry that we haven't seen again in a decade.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. I want to believe that they're actually going to go through with this. Do you think they're going to go through with this, or is some producer going to come in and ruin my day?
I think they're going through with it. I think at this point, we've known about the time stuff. I think for almost 3 years now. Like, that was my big issue with this article, is Tom brought this article out, and he was like, do you guys want new Far Cry news? And we're like, yeah. And he basically, other than about 2 tidbits in that whole article, he just reiterated the exact same things he said 2 years ago.
I think
We've known about the island. No, I like Tom, actually, but I feel like some of my issues are he likes to get, this is a way to get clicks where you post, like, the only thing new in this entire article to me is the movement stuff about the new crouch and all of that. Everything else we've known. We knew they were working on an extraction shooter in Alaska. We knew they were doing an island game where the time was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, we knew these things for probably since 2022. So there was nothing new in that article where it was like actually exciting from a Far Cry perspective. For a fan who's in the Far Cry loop. If you're not a Far Cry fan and you've been out of it, a lot of this is probably brand new stuff to you. But to someone who loves Far Cry as much as me, I've known all this stuff for 2 years.
Yeah. Bench, does this get you hyped for Far Cry?
Honestly, it gets me the least hyped for Far Cry, because I don't know, any games with like time limit mechanics are just an automatic turnoff for me.
Okay.
Yeah, he did say that on the Discord. He said he'll never play this game and that I should just go die in a hole. Those were his words, actually. It was kind of
Yeah, I
crazy.
thought that was a bit aggressive too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm a prune. Fusion, I want to make fun of you because you tagged me in another conspiracy theory. Literally, as you were talking about Far Cry, you were like, "Hang on, let me tag Wolf." Is GTA 6 trailer 2 releasing on December 27th? I read the thread. I mean, listen,
They were spitting in that thread.
Come on. The evidence. Listen, the evidence is pretty good. I want to believe, but I'm not going to.
They have to. They have to. I mean, it's been a year since the
day
last
after
one.
Christmas?
No, that's 2 days after Christmas, and it's a Friday. That just lines up. I feel like you get. That's just exciting. That's exciting.
Wait until everyone's on break. That's
exactly
so fucked up.
That's exactly what Rockstar would do.
That is actually exactly what they would do. Damn it, Fusion! Don't do this. If it's December 26th and this trailer doesn't happen, I will be personally blaming you.
I'll take blame, but there's something in the air. This isn't the moon conspiracy from a few months ago.
Oh no, they're
real
spitting it. I'm sold. It's happening.
Oh my god, Rockstar is trending on Twitter. God damn it.
People know. I mean, it makes sense. Like we said, we just had this talk off the air about how Rockstar likes to do a trailer a year, and we were going through this whole year thinking, oh, there's not going to be another trailer, which is why I don't want it to, but I've been on record saying it will be delayed. If a trailer comes out this week, I will have fully, not completely faith, but I will have way more faith that it's going to actually hit next year.
I think you talked too much to Jack. That's why. That's why you thought it would be delayed. But also,
no. I don't listen to that British man. I have my own thoughts. My thoughts are my own.
I mean, listen, Fusion, I really do want to believe, but I'm just like, it was interesting. We were talking about it too. It's like you don't feel the hype for GTA 6 yet, and honestly, I kind of understand how you feel.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could get on the hype cycle yet, but for some reason, it's just like it's Rockstar. I mean, I've played every GTA up to this point. Played Red Dead Redemption 2. Want to get to Red Dead at some point. Like, they're one of the best in the industry, and I know that. But it's just like I'm not going to directly compare it to Bethesda, but Rockstar gives off a little Bethesda juice of. Can I fully believe Rockstar will come out and make their games more modern in a sense of a gameplay perspective? I don't have full faith until I see it, and that makes me push back a little on the hype, and the pushback of, hey, we don't have a date. That does hinder the hype a little bit. And there's too many. I'm not even going to call it Rockstar stink because that makes it sound like it's bad. There's too many just at its core, the way Rockstar develops games, that makes me less hyped than I should be for the next GTA title.
I get that. No, I fully understand the skepticism. I really think that when we see that trailer, I don't want to say it'll melt away, but it'll be that, I won't even think about the skepticism anymore because of how good it looks, how
fun it is. But also, listen, man, if I see Tap 8 run, I swear to God, like what is this? Like their 6th GTA game, like 20th fucking game they've done with Tap 8 run. It's like, all right, guys, let's get rid of that.
Exactly. Those are my worries. I think at the core, this game is going to be. I don't think this game could ever be less than a 9. Like, I truthfully believe that. I just want it to be that 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And it's like, if, like you said, that Tap the A's back and other things where it's like Rockstar they've never not. Rockstar, if Rockstar's bad at one thing, they won't take fan feedback. They are going to do what 100%. They want to do. And it's like, that's the thing that will scare me, where they've had so much fan feedback, even over the last decade of GTA 5 and the last 5 years, 6 years of Red Dead Redemption 2, that they should know we want a little more player freedom in these missions. We want better control schemes. We want these things to make your games go from, granted, they always usually get 10s anyways, but maybe 10s to an 11, if you could even hit an 11 like that. It's like, if you change these things, you could actually have perfect video games here, Rockstar. Like, you can make the perfect games, and it feels like they just don't. They're kind of stuck in their way of, hey, we don't care. Like, we're going to make the game how we're going to make it, and until reviews matter, like until the review scores go down, until the sales go down, we're not changing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We will see. December 26th. That's 6 days away, a week. So I'm very excited.
It's going to be great. Where I hope someone's running in the trailer, like it's a gameplay still, someone running, and we're gonna have to like theorize if they were tapping A.
They just put up a controller on screen and it's just like they're holding A and everyone's like, holy shit! I accidentally skipped this story earlier, so I'm gonna let me go through it. Capcom says it's working on reactivating other dormant IPs like Onimusha and Okami. This is Jordan Midler of VGC. On Thursday, the Japanese development giant announced that it is developing a new entry in Onimusha. The game, which is set to release in 2026, will be a new entry in one of many Capcom franchises that fans have requested new games from for some time. Now, Capcom has said that it's working on bringing more legacy franchises back in modern forms. Quote, in addition to regular releasing major new titles each year, Capcom is focusing on reactivating dormant IPs that haven't had a new title launch recently, quote, reads a statement on the company's investor relations line. The company is working to further enhance corporate value by leveraging its rich library of content, which includes revisiting past IPs like the 2 titles announced above, in order to continuously produce highly efficient, highly quality titles. I mean, here's the thing. Cap God era, we're in it. Like, let's just be real. I think this is a very smart scenario in my eyes, because you have Resident Evil and Monster Hunter, 2 franchises that sell 10 million plus. No other Japanese, like a lot of the Japanese publishers do not have 10 million plus franchises, let alone 2 of them. So the fact that they have 2 franchises that sell 10 million plus, why wouldn't you go back to stuff like Onimusha, Okami, all these like franchises that are just sitting in your like backlog, ready to ask for a revival? Because at the end of the day, it's not costing too much to develop these titles. These are very cheap. Japanese development is substantially less expensive than Western development, and especially with these titles, the development cost is probably not going to be as crazy. And who knows, maybe something like Onimusha, I think Onimusha very much is very possible to pop off, and it's like, whoa, actually, this could be a third pillar for us. Another franchise that does just as well. And if the game doesn't sell that well, it's like, okay, well, we still got like 1 to 2 million sales. Like, we got our development costs back. We didn't lose anything from trying out bringing back the IP. So I think this is a really incredible strategy. How do you guys feel?
I think hopefully this leads to Dino Crisis.
Dude, I swear to God, I just want these motherfuckers to get Dino Crisis already.
No, I think this is awesome because we've talked about it. I don't want to bring up Square Enix. I have to. I'm sorry, Binks. I don't hate Square Enix. I promise.
You do.
No, I don't. I like the Final Fantasy games I've played. But this was the exact thing we talked about on Pride Podcast months ago, where we were talking about like this is something Square Enix should do with their dormant franchises that they need to bring back. The thing is, they just don't have good ones. Anyways, Capcom was doing the exact same thing we said on that podcast that we want Capcom to do. They've already had the Resident Evils and the Monster Hunters and Street Fighter. But we said, okay, Capcom needs to now get in their bag. They need to get in their Duffy, and they need to go get these games like Okami that like no one expected. But the fact that it's coming back is just like Capcom is on top of the world right now when it comes to publishing and it seems like these are the moves you make to continue to be on top of the world. You don't only stick with your Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter to stay at the top. You have to do these little ideas where you're reviving 20-year-old franchises that were dead to stay at the top.
And also, I mean, Fusion, you talk about Square Enix. Here's the thing, Square Enix does go back to their old franchises sometimes. They just don't do anything to them. You remember Valkyria Elysium in 2021? No, you don't.
Yeah,
Nobody fucking does. Because they barely marketed it. They barely did anything to it. It had a small budget and the game was okay. I played through it. It's like a 7 out of 10, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like a breakout success title for them because they didn't put enough resources behind it. They treated it like a throwaway title. And that's something that Capcom, I don't think they do that. Because you guys saw the Onimusha trailer. That did not look like they were just throwing it out there. They revealed it at the Game Awards. They are expecting this to be a major title. Same with Okami.
Well, if you're saying Valkyrie Elysium is as good to you as Game of the Year nominee Black Myth Wukong.
I think it's better than Black Myth Wukong.
He's successful.
You'll be hearing from the dev soon. Get ready.
they already sent their Goaty speech to me, don't worry. But no, I mean, like, does that disprove my point, though? It's like they don't put enough resources into something like Valkyria Elysium, and then they're like, well, we got to fall back on Final Fantasy. It's like you're not giving your other things a chance to reach the levels of Final Fantasy, and you're just diminishing the name of Final Fantasy by only releasing Final Fantasy. You got to give people time to miss these things.
I mean, I'd make the argument that each Final Fantasy is its own kind of franchise, but that's just me.
Okay, but that doesn't read it to the fucking normal gamer that doesn't obsess over these franchises. Someone like a Fusion is just like, this is another Final Fantasy.
Yeah, for example, my friends, I've tried to get, like, I told them multiple of them, I'm like, you should play Final Fantasy 16. Like, you're Game of Thrones fans, like, you guys would like this thing. And they all think, they're like, don't I have to play the first 15? I've had multiple people ask me that. And I'm like, no, like, it's its own thing. Exactly. I'm like,
sounds like you need better friends.
It sounds like for the casual audience, this is how gamers think. They see a 16 on the logo and they're like, "Oh, this is the 16th entry into this franchise."
Yeah,
that's just how it is. And it's like, I mean, I probably didn't either. But it's like, it's things like that where it's like where it's just easier to, like. That's why the numbers are weird. They'll never lose the numbers in Final Fantasy, whatever. But to the casual audience, you see those numbers and you get lost in this means this is like the 4th entry or the 5th entry or the 18th entry. Like, you get lost in I have to play the other ones first. But that's a whole different conversation about Square and just like, I hope one day Square can get to the point of Capcom now where they're firing on all cylinders and they have 17 different franchises. Like, if Okami and Onimusha hit, if they really hit, I mean, we're talking about 2. I don't know if they'll continue them, but we're talking about now. You would have Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, and then you're adding those 2 into the mix. And like, you still have your Ace Attorneys at times. Like, they do remasters and like other things. And it's like Mega Man one day. Like, they have things where it's like Capcom can go out there and say, "Hey, here's our portfolio. We have 5 franchises that are all hitting and all delivering every few years." Where it's like, this is what every publisher wants to be.
Yeah. I mean, Capcom, they are in a very smart position. If they just keep Monster Hunter and Resident Evil going and selling 10 million plus titles for each title, where, let's be honest, you keep looking at those games, I think you're good. They still very much are selling and doing very, very well. Do you see the hype around Wilds? That game's going to be fucking huge. And to the Square Enix point with Final Fantasy, like, you're right, Fusion. It just comes down, like, me and my friends, we watched the Game Awards together. They were asking, why are there so many Final Fantasies? That genuine thing. And it's like, it's not a problem with quality. The quality for those games are still there. I just think franchise name starts to become muddled if you release only from that franchise. You're just seen as the Final Fantasy developers. Whereas, look at Dragon Quest III. That did very well in Japan, and it seems to be doing well worldwide as well, around what they kind of expected to be selling. So I just feel like Square needs to do a better job at focusing on their other franchises, like Capcom seems to be doing with Onimusha and Okami. I don't know how we started talking about Square, by the way, but hey, I respect it. I always got it.
It's because I had to get the one conversation I brought up a year ago on the podcast where I said, Square Enix can never be as successful as Capcom because their old IPs aren't as good as Capcom, and I got a lot of I got a lot of pushback.
And I mean, I'm with you.
I got a lot of pushback, but it's the point of, as of right now, Square Enix is the Final Fantasy. That's what they are. Square Enix is a Final Fantasy dev in my
Dragon
eyes,
Quest.
and in a lot of casual eyes. Dragon Quest, we just explained how it like sold 4 potatoes in the U.S. or whatever.
Okay, whoa, wait.
So-
Now you're attacking me.
So like, in a world, and I'm just saying Capcom got it done. Square Enix can still get it done because we could be sitting here in a world where Capcom is an only Resident Evil publisher. The thing is, they got out of it. They're doing the thing now. This is all I want from Square Enix. Was why I brought up Square Enix earlier. And again, I shouldn't have. It was just a tangent that I went on.
You've got hater energy, but
No,
it's
I'm not
okay.
hating. I just like they're so similar to me as publishers that should both be at the top, and it just irks me that one just sits there and wallows in Final Fantasy.
Where is at the top? But
They're literally not benched.
The top
All
of
every
nothing.
financial
They're at the
update, they're
top.
sad.
I mean,
In
every
my
time they
heart-
release a game, it fails to meet expectations.
but they meet
Yeah.
my expectations. They
And I
exceed them.
agree, and I have no. They
The
can be your
quality's there.
favorite publisher, and that is 100% fine. Their games are good. I just want them to be at a Capcom level for the industry. I want people to look at Square Enix and be like the same way they look at Capcom, and they just don't.
I mean,
The problem is that, like, it will take you. It takes like 6 years in between Kingdom Hearts mainline entries. You have Nier Automata, which sold 8 million copies, a lot. Fusion, like you said, Fusion, that's a franchise that could be a pillar, but they just don't release Nier games that often enough. You have Dragon Quest, which does very well, but also takes forever between each entry. It's like they only look like the Final Fantasy one because all their other franchises take so damn long and they're not putting resources behind them. And when they try to revive one of their older franchises, they don't put any resources behind it and it just wallows. And I'm like, I want you to be on the top square, but like, you're not. Compared to my boys Konami. Let's go. Am I right? Like, dude, I'm the fucking Konami fan. I'm the real loser here.
Konami's back. That is
Okay.
true.
I want to believe. Real quick, any personal franchises you guys want? Listen. I'm holding out for Mega Man, but I don't know.
Are you talking about as in general or just Capcom?
Yeah, Capcom. I want Mega Man more than anything. I think Mega Man's next. I have to imagine, but also I've been burned before, so fuck me.
I mean, like I said, I was probably Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis
But-
is the
All
most
these-
interesting to you.
All these revivals are going to be like the first time I play these franchises, besides me going back to Okami. So, I don't know. I'll play.
You know
them.
what's great? I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom and Dead Rising. You'd have to
Yeah.
imagine are both trying
Yeah.
to come back.
I would just say the only other one I could really think of was Dead Rising.
Dead
Mhm.
Rising feels like it would have done. It had a time and place, but I think the problem was they kept releasing them.
Yeah, I don't think a Dead Rising comes out now and does good, in my opinion.
I mean, there was the remaster recently, and that seemed
Yeah.
to do fine enough. But I do wonder what a Dead Rising 5 would do, especially with how badly 4 did.
I think
but
they
yeah.
picked the outside of Mega Man. I think they picked the 2 right franchises.
Oh, okay. Outside. I thought you were gonna
outside
dig
of
Mega Man. Respect.
No, I'm saying like
Respect.
outside of if you couldn't like if Mega Man was the top of like, oh, we should do this. I think Okami and Onimusha were literally the next 2 and 3 where you're like, let's bring these back. And there were the 2 where it's like no one thought would come back. So it's like,
Yeah, and Onimusha just feels like such a gimme, especially in the era of Souls likes nowadays.
Dude,
So it's like
yeah,
that would
that's
be
the
so
thing is, I remember watching my older brother play Onimusha. I've never played an Onimusha game, but I remember watching my older brother play one. So it's like that's the type of game where it's like I'm excited to see what they do with that.
I just imagine 6-year-old Fusion going like, "Ugh, old game, old." Watching Onimusha in 2002. But yeah, Capcom. God bless you, Cap God era. Before we get into what we've been playing, real quick, Fusion, I never asked you, and Bench too. Your retribution for Witcher and Naughty Dog's new game. I don't even remember the name of it. So you can have, okay, tell me how The Heretic Prophet is a good subtitle, Fusion. That's all I want to know.
Great subtitle. It's a
Great subtitle.
That is a
Fantastic.
terrible. I'm against 2 people that will say anything Naughty Dog does is good. So you know what? Fine. Go ahead. I don't care.
For one,
Talk.
I just think I think Intergalactic is the franchise. Can we all agree that that's like the actual
Yeah,
franchise?
okay.
So like whenever they make another one, because they will, whenever they make,
Yeah.
we'll have a different subtitle. Which I just think Intergalactic as a franchise name is fire. Like if that's just
It's so good.
like if that's just your space opera, like that's your space opera name out there, that's fire. Intergalactic, that's as good as it gets. The Heretic Prophet, I think it's. I'm not gonna say it's great. I'm not like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, but I don't think it's bad. I'm like, okay, I think it's going to have. We know this game's about like religion type stuff, so like it makes sense, like it fits the bill. Anyways, outside of
Listen,
that,
I would
Vibes,
hope.
though.
I'm just saying, I don't think it rolls off the tongue, and I think if you want a good franchise name, it rolls off the tongue. That's all I'll say.
I think you're correct. I think the whole name doesn't roll off the tongue, but I think most people are just going to call it Intergalactic. No one's calling it. No, like when you're talking about the game,
Fair enough.
you know, what I mean, you're not going to go the until. You're not saying it at all. You're literally just going to when you're talking about the Naughty Dog game, you're going to be like, dude, Intergalactic was so good.
The vibes in that trailer are so good. Just what they're going for with that like kind of retro future sci-fi thing. I'm sold. I need it.
And sold regardless. Never mind. Go ahead. Continue. I'll shut up. This is not my time.
You guys didn't do it justice last week. We got to talk about like.
Hey, Bob
for
did
what?
it justice.
Yeah, he did. Bob was out there. He was putting on for the city, and I like that. You know, I'm sorry, Bob, when I insulted you earlier. It was all in fun. This is now we're going back to you being
Bob
a good
is
guy.
having a confusing episode today, man.
This is you going back again because like again, I started to like put some emphasis on this. When we in the Discord, we didn't put this out publicly. We talked about okay, let's put 3 predictions that we think could be oh shit moments for the Game Awards. And we're like, oh, let's just go down the list. Mine were the Witcher 4 reveal and the new Naughty Dog project. I also had Playdead showing up and they were dead.
Yeah, the one that I cared about the most of those 3.
I'm sorry, I used all my energy in the first 2 and they couldn't show up. And then like, again, once Okami hit, I was like, basically out of the Naughty Dog showing up. I was like, oh, it's Okami. Like they showed Okami at the end with the drum, and I was like, I mean, Jeff straight up said it was the last reveal. He got us all, but he was like, oh, it's the last reveal. I was like, Okami, like I
cry.
I know he was. And like I understand Okami, big deal, but I was like, I was sad a little bit. I was like, oh, we actually didn't get Naughty Dog. We're going. Yeah, and then they hit us with the Naughty Dog thing earlier with the Last of Us thing. So at that point in the Game Awards, I was a little salty. I think I said a vulgar term towards Jeff at one point. At that point, I'm like, Jeff, I don't know why I came at Jeff, but Jeff just felt like he led me on with the.
What would you cry about Okami, you little bitch?
He led me on with the Okami thing so much that I fully believed it was Naughty Dog. And then it's not Okami. We go to like a little ad break, and then he comes back. And I'm like, Jeff, you're standing in the way. That's not like you're about to deliver the Game Awards thing. You're about to spit some fire. And at that moment when he brought up Legacy and Dev, I was like, there's no one else he's about to announce. I mean, at this point, who else could it have been? Unless it was a GTA trailer or something. I was like, at this point, I was Naughty Dog. Until the space hit. Space trailer hits, I'm like, it's Santa Monica. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is this Cory Barlog's game. I don't know if anyone else felt that way when they saw the space, because...
Yeah, no, I was the exact same.
Yeah, like... Because we all thought, okay, Naughty Dog was making a fantasy game. That's been the rumor. They're making a fantasy, and we know Cory Barlog's working on some type of space thing. So I'm like, wait, Santa Monica, okay, like less exciting, but I'm still super hyped. Like, I love Santa Monica. And I saw the face of this character. Her name's...
Naughty Dog ass face.
Yes, her name's Jordan Munn, I think, is the character's name. Like, the minute I saw that face in the animations, I'm like, no one in the industry, other than Rockstar, does animations like this. None. Like, no one can do a face model like this. No one can do it like this. I immediately knew it was Naughty Dog, and from that point on, it was just smooth sailing of, I'm getting Naughty Dog, my favorite developers ever, in my favorite genre ever.
With the too.
Dude, it's sci-fi. Sci-fi is so good. And it's like, the vibes were just so good that, like, the music, even the not even just the, gosh, I'm blanking on the 80s band now.
Shop Boys?
Yeah, the Pet Shop Boys. But even the original score they were using that they made of that like super space ass OST in the background. I mean, even that was just so good that I'm like, it's Naughty Dog. We know how good their music is. You talk about the Uncharted music, the Last of Us music. I'm sure Jack and Daxter has great music, but Crash.
Just say it does, man. That music goes hard.
I know what I mean. Like Naughty Dog has fantastic music, so like even that, and then come on, you have to get hype at the end with the sword. Last thing I expected was to see that big ass sword with the red laser going through it. I was like, oh, it's just gonna be another shooter. Like we saw the pistol earlier in the trailer. The fact that she's running at this robotic sci-fi thing with a sword. Hopefully not a Souls-like. I'll be a little pissed. But if we're getting a melee, if we're getting Naughty Dog emphasis on melee, that's as good as it gets. I mean, we know how good the melee combat and the stealth and all that stuff is in The Last of Us. I mean, it was perfect for me, as you can tell as I'm gushing about it. I mean, it's the most excited I've been for a reveal since probably Hades 2, which I know wasn't that long ago, but it was 3 years ago at this point. So like,
you get excited too often, man. What the hell? Let me.
Dude, I mean, they're just so good. I mean, Banks, you got anything to say other than what I just said?
I mean, I've rewatched the trailer probably 10 times now. It's really good, and I think just the tech was crazy. And honestly, I like the product placement because it kind of like is immersive, and I'm really sold on the game.
And the woke bullshit that we got to deal with. It's like,
I was just about to ask you about this.
where, like, for one, again, already a female, so she's already getting any type of hate. You're already getting a main character where it's like, oh, you're a woman, you're a girl, you're done. Then she's bald. She doesn't have hair. Now people think she's ugly. Like, she's not got hair, she's ugly. Oh, it pissed me. Oh, I just want, like, why? We're talking about Naughty Dog. I understand not everyone likes Last of Us Part 2. But we're talking about, even if you don't like Last of Us Part 2, they've never missed any other time if you don't really Last of Us Part 2. They are the peak of the industry. They are the next to Rockstar as they win the most game awards. They do everything else. Well, from Soft as well. They win all the awards. they do all these things. They are they're the pinnacle of, hey, we want to put everything in our basket at PlayStation to have a Naughty Dog company. Xbox would kill to have a Naughty Dog company. Like, Naughty Dog is the development team that you want at your studio when you're a publisher, and it's like we're forgetting, or it's like we're just letting a few decisions in Last of Us Part 2 that people didn't agree with to just completely crumble this studio that's never missed in their lives. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I feel like the Naughty Dog slander has gotten to a point where they just revealed a brand new IP for the first time in over a decade, and people are just like, it sucks. It's going to be bad. Like, how?
That's the thing that's like confusing to me, because it's like, I'm not that crazy about the trailer, but like, here's the thing. I know the pedigree, and it's like, even if you didn't like The Last of Us 2 that much or at all, it's like, okay, that just completely erases like a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, literally since the entire history of them being a game developer, dating all the way back to Crash 1. Like, let's just say like you didn't like Last of Us 2. It's like, okay, Crash 1 to Uncharted 4, all bangers. Oh, and Lost Legacy, I guess. So like, literally, that is what, like, because Crash 1 was 96, so that's 10, 20. That's about 20 years of history. 20 years of games, and they were releasing bi-yearly for a long time, so that's like over 40. Well, not 40 games, but like around that range. And you're going to tell me it's like, well, yeah, one game invalidated it. Like, yeah, what? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, listen, here's the thing. I get, like, maybe not getting hyped for the trailer, but like, to say this game's going to be bad is psychotic to me. It's like, I think the game is going to be at the very least, like, a really fun game or a really good game. At the very least, it's very much going to push what we see graphical fidelity in games the same way GTA 6 will.
Exactly, and I would love to see the difference. And like, if we could go back in time or have 2 different timelines of they showed a just basic male protagonist. I like the social. Again, this is also different because most of these woke idiots on like
that's not the majority of gamers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's not how these people out there with their real money are actually buying and playing these video games. But the people we see on social media all the time that are complaining about this, that are now going onto like AI apps and like making the characters look better themselves apparently, and they look awful.
It was a meme with Horizon Forbidden West when people were like, hire fans, like that one moron, and it's like, oh wait, there's like way more of these morons, like a massive cesspool nowadays.
Maybe that's the thing that we should point out is I never realized how many of these weirdos are actually out there. Like, it's insane how these tweets will have hundreds of thousands of likes where I'm like, dog, how are you all this horrible? Like, I don't know.
There's millions of stupid people in the world. It just so happens that hundreds of thousands of them are gamers as well. Like, video game discourse. Here's the thing, Fusion. I'll say this year has been fucking dog shit for video game discourse. It has been really unfun to talk about video games online. But that's why we have places like A Slice of Gaming or Giant Bomb, Game Mess, Kind of Funny, all these places. Because let's be honest, we always talk about like echo chambers are bad. Maybe
sometimes they're pretty good. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes I do just want to stick to people that I understand aren't going to be fucking psychotic and start talking about woke BS bullshit. I just want to talk about a fucking video game. And it's like, wow, that video game looks cool, or wow, that video game looks bad. We can talk shit about a video game without saying, oh, it's bad because a woman is in it. I
Exactly.
fucking care. I don't care about the women. It's
That's
a video game.
I've never in my life ever been like, oh, this game looks so cool, or this like, oh, this combat looks awesome, but this main character, I can't play as her, or I can't play as him, or I can't play. Like, I've never let someone's gender, someone's sexuality, someone's religion ever affect me, especially in character. These are made up characters. Affect the way that I enjoy a product.
Like, I've been playing Stellar Blade, which, by the way, fucking rips. That game's awesome. Not even a... Dude, everyone talk about how sexy the character... Dude, listen, believe me or not, I don't even notice anymore. I'm trying to focus on my parries. I don't even notice she's hot.
You say, oh, this is different in the next first like 10 minutes, because that's when they kind of laser in on it, and then you don't think about it again.
Yeah, dude, like, and also sometimes you'll get like a really skippy outfit. It's like, I don't want to see you like that.
It's like,
It's ridiculous.
This is the last thing I'm gonna say, and I feel like I don't want to validate anything they say on that side.
Don't let it affect your excitement for the game. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't want to validate any. When I say this, I'm not trying to validate anyone on that side of women, blah blah blah, all this side of they shouldn't be in gaming. I can understand a little bit of the whiplash, a little bit of the fact that we're talking about in the last 5 years of game, there has been a lot of less male protagonists and more female-led protagonists. But I don't think the thing where I push back is I don't think it's the industry forcing it on anyone. I think dev teams are now becoming more diverse. It's less just white male men at the top of these developer teams, and naturally they're just putting in things that portray them in real life into these games. As it should be. Games shouldn't be for 20 years there where every protagonist out there, outside of Lara Croft, was just a standard white male guy.
I mean,
like
that. I mean, that's the thing though, Fusion, is that there are a lot of women protagonists even before like all this. Like, the thing is, grifters want to make money, and like they're making substantially a lot of more money off of like this grifting hate. And here's the thing: it wasn't just Lara Croft. It was stuff like Samus Aran. There was like a lot of female characters out there. You know what would happen back in the day, even when I was a kid, when I was like 15, 12, that type of stuff. I see a female character, I would get hyped. I'm like, yo, that's cool. And most guys would. Most people didn't give a fuck about the gender of a character. They talked about how cool the character was. That's all that mattered. And it's just becoming less and less of a thing that's focused on. Now it's like gender, male, female, yeah, they're non-binary. Guys, it's a video game. We are talking about literal, and I mean this with all love because this is my favorite medium. We are talking about toys, just things to play and have fun. So just have fun. Let's not make it serious, okay?
That's it. And it's as simple as that. And like I understand, I can understand some of the whiplash when we're talking about like. Especially in a year, I think this year was extra bad because we go Ghost of Tsushima had a male Jin Sakai, and then Ghost of Yotai gets revealed and it's now a girl. Immediately, people are mad. They're like, "Oh, first people are mad that it's not Jin again," which I can understand if you want to Jin back. That's understandable. But then they switch genders, people are extra mad, and then you go into now we're talking about Witcher. Geralt has been the standard and the protagonist for over a decade. Like, he was the guy, and then he's done. He's out of the games, which we'll talk about with the next a little bit.
But now be insane. That's the thing. You'd have to be insane to think that The Witcher 4 wasn't going to be Ciri.
But that's the thing is a lot of people just didn't because they're idiots. You know what I mean? They didn't see the natural progression of getting to Ciri. And then you go to, now it's Ciri. For one, it's not even that she's just a girl Witcher anymore. It's the fact that they somehow are like, she's ugly now, and that's just not how that works. She just matured.
Like, have you seen her, dude? I am. Oh my god!
You're just, if you say Ciri new model is ugly, you're just outing yourself as someone who likes unmature women because she just matured. She grew up 5 years. Like, she just grew up. She's not like a 19, 20-year-old anymore. She's probably 27 or something. She grew. You know what I mean? So it's like, then you have that. And then you go into a Naughty Dog game, which outside of, light spoilers, outside of Last of Us Part 2, every other and I guess Lost Legacy. It's like for the most part, it was just male protagonists from every Naughty Dog game. You were a standard male, going through decades of being a male protagonist. Nathan Drake, Joel Miller, Jack. Sure, you know what I mean?
Sure, brother. Jack and Crash are full-born males, buddy.
I know. So it's like you go through 2 decades of that, and then it's like now you have to go back 3 to 4 releases of being a male protagonist in a Naughty Dog game. People get a little bit of whiplash, and it starts to all come together, but it's because the wrong people. This is just natural progression in the video game industry, but because the minority is so loud on the internet, people think these companies are being forced to do such things. These companies aren't being forced to make these changes. They just want to make them. And we're just accepting they are making the art. You're here to just play the product.
And I think that's a way to kind of cap up the conversation is that at the end of the day, this is the minority. Don't think like gaming is effectively now completely ruined. Like you're never going to be able to talk about a game without some freak getting mad about wokeism. At the end of the day, there are still communities out there. There are people out there that are normal, like me and Fusion. Oh, okay, maybe not me, but Fusion. And just people that want to talk about how cool video games are. And you just have to probably work harder to find those communities at the end of the day, but they're still there. Like, listen, unironically, like you go to a Reddit like r/ghost of Yote, they just talk about the game. Not a single post about, oh, it's a woman now. They're like, wow, this game looks cool. What are your theories? You know, classic video game discourse. And I'm not going to be the one to fucking hype up Reddit. Trust me, I'm the last person to do that. But I'm just saying, like, you want to try to find the specialized communities more than ever rather than try to go to these community town square like x.com, baby. It's just you're not gonna find good discourse there. You're not gonna find good conversation. You're gonna find people that want to make a buck off of outrage, and it's just not worth it anymore. And I want to cap off the conversation because I don't want to get into this space where we're complaining about this every week. I want to get into the space where you come into our podcast and you want to listen to us talk about how cool video games are.
Now let's talk about a really cool video game as in Witcher 3 real quick. The
Witcher
good parts.
4?
Oh, we were gonna talk about Witcher 3. I thought we wanted to talk about a cool video game.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
Not Witcher 3. Well, I don't know why, but I've been Witcher 4. But Banks, you can start on The Witcher. Have you got anything?
I mean, I think you're definitely more qualified for The Witcher, but I mean, like, Witcher 4 is going to be great. I did really like Witcher 3. I put, I think, 70-something hours into it. My main problem was the combat I didn't think was good. And now I definitely think it's going to have good combat, and it keeps that CD Projekt Red writing. We're in for a very good video game.
You know what's crazy, Fusion? I was looking at my PlayStation time. I have 47 hours in Witcher 3.
You gotta get back to it. I believe in you.
I've tried 3 times.
I believe in you, dude.
3 times.
I believe.
I want to hear you be excited for it. I know you're really excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you guys weren't like huge Witcher fans, but last week on the podcast, we were like going nearly an hour before it's even brought up. It's just crazy to me. And
well, I was doing the best for Blast because they were the biggest announcement.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you can believe me if you want. Okay, whatever. Continue. Talk about Witcher 4. Let's go, baby. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, the fact that I am someone who I hated the fact that I didn't hate. I would have played that either way, but some people wanted like, hey, we want to create your own Witcher. That was people like, oh, we're moving away from Geralt. The next step was either create a new Witcher or go to Ciri. Those were like the only 2 logical steps you could really think of, unless they went a totally different route. And I've been open of I don't like creating my own characters in video games. I like when a dev team gives me a protagonist that they've made. Maybe I'm alone in that. I don't know. For me personally, I like when you give me the Geralt or the Jin Sakai, blah blah blah. I don't like the clouds. I don't like, and again, I'm not hating on FromSoft. It obviously is why it works, because you wouldn't have like a protagonist in a FromSoft game. But like when I go in there and make my FromSoft character, I feel nothing from the character I'm making, type of thing.
Those are the first guys. You just wanted to roast me. That's why.
No,
like there's so many games with creative characters. It's like, yeah, fuck FromSoft though.
I was just thinking of.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, like I prefer when you give me a character, even to the point of like Shepard. If you're gonna give me a point where I can edit the character, at least give me someone like Shepard where everyone's named where like other than outside of choices, like everyone gets the same choices they can make, I should say. Your Shepard might look different than mine, but at the end of the day, we're both Shepard and we both have like we're either a bad or a good Shepard. Like that's fine if we're gonna go down the creative route. But so I was
Just real
wish.
quick, it's the difference between playing a role and creating a role. And you're
Yes.
very much more on the playing a role. in an
Correct. I
RPG.
like to play a role, even when it's like, even when, for example, Baldur's Gate, the game I'm going through now, I don't create myself in Baldur's Gate. I've never been someone who's like, I'm gonna play a video game and create myself. Like, no.
You went with an origin character?
Huh?
Did you go with an origin character?
No, I made my character, but I'm
Okay,
but I'm playing as a character like that. Like it's not me. I'm not in the game type thing.
Okay.
So like I try my best to make a character that has like in my head I'm creating their background compared to the devs creating a background because again I made the character. Anyways, I love the option of I love the route of them going with Siri. That just felt the most natural. I know we'll get into Witcher lore stuff where they're super hardcore. Like girls can't be Witchers. They have to go through the trials and all this other stuff. I'm sure CD Projekt Red, the guys who've made 3 fantastic Witcher games, can figure out the lore. Like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, and we're gonna figure it out together. Just because you don't know the answer now doesn't mean they're just going to not give us an answer when the game comes out. I think from that perspective, I think this trailer was fantastic. I didn't even realize until Michael Huber brought it up on Easy Allies that they did a very sneaky. They wanted you to make this look like Witcher 1 remake. I mean, as the remake of Witcher 1.
Oh, really?
Because if you play The Witcher 1, the game starts off very similar to like this girl sacrificing herself for a village. It's very almost quote unquote the same thing. So I think that's what they were going for, but no one in the world has played Witcher 1. So no one felt that way. They were just like, oh, it's a new Witcher. It's not the remake. But I think they were going for that type of thing, and that's why they were like hiding Siri till later on in it and blah blah. Anyways, I just think this trailer was really well done. That music, fantastic. I love Witcher 3 music. It's just like it felt just of that quality. I think from some outside stuff we didn't get from the trailer, we know that this is what makes me excited that I feel like you guys will like is like
Okay.
Witcher 3's combat. I understand we're gonna disagree. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. I don't think Witcher 3 has the greatest combat ever. I don't think it's bad. I know you guys both are like it's more bad than good. That's fine. I know people don't like the Witcher combat. But this is like I think we're gonna have more magic here, and I think we're talking about Shinobi posted, I think, talking about chains. You can have chains that you can put like elements to, like water or fire. Like imagine you being a Witcher with chains that like are magical.
Wait, chains
Cool.
like battle chains?
Yes, like you know that chain that she used in that trailer where she like wrapped it around the monster.
Oh, okay. So you can basically use that in combat.
Yes, like everything and the
Sorry. Just the combat variety would be something that
yes, which I think we're gonna get with Ciri that we couldn't get with Geralt, where it's like even there's a point in that trailer which you might not remember, but she's up against that wall and she grabs water out of a stream coming down into her hand. They said you're literally going to be able to use elements around the world, like fire and water and ice, and literally take them off the ground like through your hands and use them in the combat. I'm like, that just sounds so sick. Imagine like a Witcher ass world where now you can actually use like fire and obviously you have like your normal Witcher signs like Igni and Ard and those normal things. But imagine things where it's like if they do it right, you're in an arena or something and you have a barrel of oil and you light it on fire, then you can now like grab that fire with your hand or with your chains and like bring it into the fight. That sounds awesome from a combat perspective.
Yeah, no, it seems like if you can, it sounds a lot like Baldur's Gate 3, where you just use a lot of outside influences, kind of that D&D influence, where it's like, oh, there's a barrel of oil here. It's like that's a very pivotal aspect of like combat if you use it correctly.
Exactly, and it's like I think you should watch the trailer again because I think the trailer truthfully gives you a lot of what the combat will do. Oh, you do? So like the chains and like all the stuff that like you might not notice at first, but then when you realize, oh, this is actually going to be part of the combat system, that gets me just super excited because I think everyone here would agree that CD Projekt Red writing is very good. Like if you're going into an RPG for like. Well, I guess you.
I'm just messing with you.
Well, to be fair, I don't know. I gotta remember you aren't like you've only completed one CDPR game, right?
Well, I didn't even complete. I tried to complete Cyberpunk. No. Here's the thing: Cyberpunk's writing was good. I didn't like how it was just barely not an RPG.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So I gotta remember. I feel like you haven't fully. I'm not going to say appreciate it.
Okay. Here's the thing, Fusion. I want to point this out. I actually like the writing in Witcher 3 a lot. I actually really liked certain characters. My two things: I hated the combat. I hated Geralt. This, if you improve the combat and you're playing as Ciri, Playing as Ciri was my favorite part in Witcher 3. So this game immediately I'm more interested in. I'll say that. It's just I am in this. I want to believe that I can enjoy a CD Projekt Red game because I do think they're a very, very talented studio. I just think that Cyberpunk, obviously the launch did not help, but I just wasn't a fan of like, it wasn't what I really expected it to be. And maybe that's on me for like false expectations, but it felt less like an RPG that I truly wanted it to be. Maybe, again, false expectations, who knows? And also, I was playing on a launch PS4. That was just not going to help that game at all. And Witcher 3, I just, like I said, like combat and Geralt. Everything here, I'm like, listen, just don't have another Cyberpunk launch situation. Maybe this is the one that gets me. That's what I want to believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% something that should have been brought up that I should have brought up. I do see like the being afraid of, hey, this game could have like a really bad launch, or this game, because
Well, it depends when it launches. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Because again, Cyberpunk, I mean, the worst launch in the industry, like ever, like that happened. So it's like you can't just
6, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, like we can't just slide past that, and I understand that. Even if 3 years later they stuck with it and they truthfully made it, I think, a masterful game. And even Witcher 3 wasn't perfect at launch. Witcher 2 definitely wasn't perfect at launch as far as I know. Like they've never launched in a perfect state, which I just think is kind of that like you have Bethesda jank and you also have CDPR jank. I think they're just different jank. Yeah.
Well, this is also Unreal now, right?
Yes, this is also Unreal Engine 5. So they're
unreleased NVIDIA graphics card.
Yes, which is insane that they even put that. I've
It's
never
so
seen that on a
funny.
trailer. Never seen that on a trailer. But yeah, so it's like there's definitely things to be worrisome about. And there's not much else to say other than I really am excited, and I was just giving you guys
hyped.
Yeah, I was just giving you guys crap of actually like waiting so long last podcast to do it. I was just more surprised that no one had anything about I was surprised Jack's never played The Witcher. Like that just shocked me.
Yeah.
I feel like The Witcher 3 is such a gigantic game that it kind of always surprises me when most people in this group they've never beaten it.
I feel like never beaten it. I don't think that's that crazy. It's a long game, Fusion.
But you've beat a lot longer games.
Longer than Witcher 3? I mean,
yeah.
You've beaten
Yeah, I
Persona
mean, yeah,
5
fair.
like 4 times.
I would say, haven't you beaten like every
Okay.
Persona?
That was my unemployed arc, baby. All right.
Witcher 3 came out when you were in high school.
Yeah, no. That's the thing. Well, I really want to believe. I really think Witcher 3, if you give me a good combat system, it's like, okay, I can deal with my like hang-ups with Geralt and maybe learn to appreciate him. It really was just the combat. Like that's the main thing. So it's like if you tell me Witcher 4, all these different combat things that they could be possibly adding. I mean, they are going to be adding. They outright said they would. You tell me all that, and then it comes out in a good space. Like, yes, dude, I think this could be the one that gets me in. But like, I'm tempering personal expectations because this is not a franchise I'm personally invested in. And I also think, at the end of the day, I think this is going to come out. It's going to get a 90 plus because even Cyberpunk at launch got a 90 plus. Like, clearly, the industry loves CD Projekt Red.
You can quote me on this, and it's gonna backfire in 2 years when this game comes out.
Oh, 2 years. Okay, well, that immediately is something I'll quote you on.
I think this game is going to come out, and you're going to not only like the combat, you're going to love the combat.
You think I'm going to play it day one?
Yes, I think this game will get reviewed.
Okay.
I think the game will get reviewed high enough where you won't be able to not play it day one.
Above a 95? Because I think it's very possible.
That's
95 is a really
That's
hard
crazy.
range.
That's
like,
high
you're
for
talking
an
about-
RPG.
That's Rockstar FromSoft territory.
3D platformer can get it, so can Witcher.
I mean, Witcher 3 got 94
He's selling me less,
back
by
in
the
the
way.
day.
Like, I want you to know, Fusion, right now, Bench is not helping you by disgracing my guys.
I'm not going to say anything about the review score. I just think 2 years from now, whenever the game comes out, I think you're going to be on a podcast. We're going to come back to this 2 years later. We're never going to remember. But if we do, I want to claim that you will say you love the combat. You don't just like it. It's not serviceable. I feel like you're going to love it.
I feel like one of us will be dead by then.
Why would you say
I
that?
hope not.
I'm playing. No, I want to. I think they learned, because here's the thing, Fusion. I'll say this: Cyberpunk's combat was pretty fun. Like that was a really cool combat system, and there was a lot of like RPG aspects to that combat system that I really appreciated. Bring that into like a Witcher style fantasy setting, because like that's another thing. Cyberpunk, that setting does nothing for me. So it's like do that in a setting that does something for me.
oh man, yeah, no, this could be a banger. This could be a game that I'm like, yo, hell yeah. Like we should, yo, guys, why aren't we talking about The Witcher, man? You guys never bring it up. Like maybe that'll be the case next 2 years. That's the crazy thing about your statement though. 2 years, you think this is a 2027 title?
Um,
Yeah.
Or I guess 2 years from now would be 2026.
I was thinking 2026.
That's insane. Okay, that's psychotic.
I mean, it's been
Unreleased
in
NVIDIA
development.
graphics card.
I've been saying it for years, man. I'm gonna be right or wrong, but I feel like I've been saying
I mean,
Witcher 2026 for a while.
I feel like
Cyberpunk needed a little more time, but it was only in like development for 3 or 4 years. It's already been
Yeah,
there.
and we saw what happened.
Yeah, but
They're
I
gonna
think,
take
I
those
think
lessons.
Unreal Engine 5, I think the move to Unreal Engine and not the Red Engine anymore will help them kind of mainstream it out. I'm not saying this like I think there's a way they're going to like I think Unreal Engine 5 obviously an engine doesn't do all your work. And Unreal Engine, the way it works, like some people overhype the like, oh, game developers don't have to like do work when they use Unreal Engine. But they're still out there working. You know what I mean? Like it's still just like any other engine. They do a lot of things that help you as far as I know, but I do think Unreal Engine can help them. We know at this point the whole new trilogy is on Unreal Engine, and we know like they're building off of each other and all this stuff. I think they can get the first game out in 2026. I think Unreal Engine will help a little bit in that. I think they've just been working on it a while. They entered I know they entered full production just this year, but pre-production is usually longer than full production. So like they're in full production now. I think they can go head down for 2 years. I'm not saying it's like early 2026. It could be very late 2020, like very late in 2026. But like I think at the latest, this game is spring 2027.
I think. When do we think? I guess if we're predicting dates, when do we think Intergalactic is out? Because I think it's their holiday 2026 game.
I also think it is 2026.
You guys are so optimistic. I love it.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think. Would you believe? Okay, let me ask you this: what's more believable, Intergalactic 2026 or Witcher? I think Intergalactic is more
Intergalactic.
believable.
I agree.
Ah,
That would have been 6 full years.
Yeah, I mean, we're
well,
talking.
okay, you say 6 full years, but it wasn't 6 full years because a lot of that studio worked on factions.
I still think there was a solid
Yeah,
team
there was
under
some
Neil.
faction in there.
Galactic.
But I think we know Neil Druckmann has been on record. Maybe he's a liar, but they've been on record saying he does not want to reveal games too early. And I think 2 years is as late as you can get with a reveal. You know what I mean? That's as much wiggle room where you're like, we didn't reveal it too early, but we didn't reveal it too late. And you get really into it. But you know what I mean? Like that feels like enough time where he can be like, well, we didn't reveal it that early. We revealed it in December of 2024, and it came out in May of 2026.
Well, I wouldn't say May. I
Well,
would
that was
say
just an
more
example.
like,
I don't know when it
yeah.
comes out, but
Here's a bet I'm willing to make. Both of those games will release before Project Robot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, okay.
God, dude, it's always the stuff I care about. Where's
Another
Playdead,
game
man?
I want to shout out. Project Century was probably my game of the show.
Oh, dude, that game looked sick. It was though frustrating. All my friends watching the trailer were like, "Oh, dude, it's Sleeping Dogs. It's Sleeping Dogs," and I knew it wasn't Sleeping Dogs, but I'm like, "Oh, maybe it is."
Yeah.
So that was a little disappointing, but that game looked sick. But yeah, Game Awards. We talked a lot. Real quick, Fusion, you're a yapper, man. I like this energy. Last thing, my boy Matt Piscatella put up the November 2024 results. We do our thing as usual. What are the top 20 games? You guys are really bad at this. So let's hope that we can maybe pull it off this time.
College football.
College football is
hold on.
fourth.
You said is this for the month, right?
November 2024.
Okay. And he said college
Dragon
football is
Age.
4.
College football is number 4. Dragon Age is 10, which honestly feels lower than I expected.
Call of
Well,
Duty.
wasn't it first for October, which was insane because it released on Halloween?
It released on the. It was at 6 for
26th.
October.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it released October 31st, and it was number 6 overall. And for November, it is now number 10 on the top 20. Fall off. No, I'm kidding.
Call of Duty. We say Call of Duty.
Black
we
Ops
did.
6 is number 1.
I'm trying to think of a sports game that came out in November. I don't know if a sports game came out. I'm just gonna say FIFA or Madden.
Well, both, yeah, FIFA and Madden 2 and 3. God, I hate the US sales because it's
Oh, the
always
2
the same
and 3. Yeah.
It's always Call of Duty and sports in the top 5, man.
Is this just US?
What's up?
This is just US?
Just US, yeah. It's Matt Piscatella and PD.
Oh, okay. Now
Or
we're
sorry,
good.
it's Circana now.
Yeah. Now.
Why did they
just
change the
that.
name?
Is Indiana Jones on there? No, that just came
that
out in
was
December.
December.
You said
So there was
November.
December.
I'll say my goats are on this top 20.
Elden Ring
You
in
don't
there?
like a lot of games.
Elden Ring's not on there. I realized that. Okay, well, my other goats. It's a company I talked about earlier when we were talking
GTA?
about Capcom.
Oh, Capcom.
Well, not Capcom specifically. Those aren't my goats. You know my goats. Like I'm talking about the upper echelon of goats, the From Software Rockstar tier. Which, by the way, GTA 5 is not
Metaphor?
on here. Yeah, my goats, whatever. Metaphor is number 17.
Dang, that's a fall off.
I mean, it's for a niche RPG. That usually only really sells in the first month, so that makes sense. It was like
No, you don't.
Metaphor was 5th last month.
Oh, is Astrobot on there?
Astrobot is number 13, but
Okay.
also not what I realize. I have a lot more goats than I expected.
I just say what. I'm about to start Bloober Team, Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill. That's number 15. That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Goat.
Not Blooper Team. I'm talking about my goats, Konami, the goats.
Okay.
All right.
We got to give
Oh,
Blooper
what
Team
they
the
put
flowers.
out.
So if they made something special.
Yeah, Konami with Silent Hill 2 at 15.
Oh, yeah.
You know how much I love Konami, even though they're stupid
So
as
we
shit.
still need the 5th one, right? We have 1 through 4. Do we have 1 through 4?
You have 1 through 4. You're missing number 5. It was a game that released last month.
Mario and Luigi?
Mario and Luigi is number 7. Which honestly is higher than I expected.
Dude, what the heck? I didn't play a single release last month.
Oh, I meant last month. Sorry, I meant to say October was number 5.
Dang. Came out in October, bench.
Also, you're missing 2 brand new releases. One of them, I promise you will not get.
Does that? I don't know if mobile games are ever on there. That Pokemon thing ain't on there, right?
No, mobile games aren't on here. This is
Okay.
paid releases.
I have no idea what came out.
You played them all.
Okay. Okay, think
I
about
haven't
this.
played
What
that
is
many
like?
games.
What are some of the best-selling games of the last 2 years? Because there's a couple that are pretty obvious.
Elden Ring?
You already said Elden Ring. It's not on there.
I said that.
Based on an IP, caused a lot of controversy.
Concord?
Concord? That's what you thought of? That game doesn't exist anymore, Bench. Stop reminding me.
The Last of Us. That's got to be on there.
Oh my god.
No kidding.
The 2 worst players for this. Also, you're missing a sports game, by the way.
Oh, a sport. Let me see. A sport.
NBA?
NBA. That's number 9.
Oh,
All right.
NBA's in there.
Yeah, you got all the sports games.
Dude, I'm bad with sales. I need a hint for the 5th one.
Okay. Number 5. It's based on an IP. Came out in October. Anything else would reveal it.
Am I allowed to look up an October game list? Not that list, but like
No,
games that
no,
came out
you
in
don't get-
October.
No. You're doing this from the memory. It's a game
Yeah.
you didn't play, Fusion. That'll help.
That's what I mean. I didn't
What?
play any of them.
Did I play it?
No, you didn't play it either, Bench.
Never. Is that on the list at all now?
No, it's not. You really
What?
think Neva's gonna be on the list?
Plucky Squire.
Plucky Squire? No. Go, you guys are choosing like 1 to 2. Fucking Bench said Concord.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't remember. The only October releases in my head right now are Metaphor, Call of Duty, Dragon Age, and we've already got them all. Wait, something came out in the middle there.
October release, early in the month, same day as Metaphor. That ought to be enough. Based on an IP.
Oh, Sonic!
No, oh my god! Sonic's at 8 though. Sonic
You were
X
so
Shadow is
confident.
at 8.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take something on the
Sonic
board.
came out at the same day as Metaphor.
Wait,
No,
what came out
it
the same day as
didn't. It
Metaphor?
came out. Metaphor was early in the month. Sonic was on the 30th.
Was Metaphor the 7th?
Yeah.
I
don't know why
think
that
it
sounds
was the
right.
first week of October. Hang on. Actually, let me check real
It's
quick.
the-
Metaphor was the
Metaphor was
11th.
Yeah.
Oh, the 11th.
What else came out on the 11th? It's based on an IP. It's October. It's a Japanese game.
Oh, I'm done. That's bad.
Anything else, and you guys
Dragon
would
Quest.
know. It has dragon in the title. Dragon.
Dragon 8. He said Dragon 8.
Dragon!
No.
It's a dragon! IP! Dragon! Dragon!
Vince, you're the only dragon guy. Wait, what's the other? It's the JRPG.
Dragon's Dogma?
Oh my god! Based on a P!
That's,
I mean,
that's
I'm
big.
lost.
It is the biggest Japanese IP!
Okay, Dragon Ball.
Thank you!
Oh wow, the fight. Okay.
Dragon Ball
makes
Sparking Zero is number 5. Holy shit, guys!
Sorry, I'm sorry we gave you aneurysms. I was lost.
Dragon, you said Dragon Quest at,
was on
earlier.
there, right?
Dragon, yeah, it's at number 12.
Hey, I mean, that was a good guess for me.
We
Also,
win.
when I was talking about a controversial game, when I was talking about a controversial game, I was talking about Hogwarts Legacy, not Concord.
Oh, what's Hogwarts Legacy at?
Number 11.
Mm.
And then there's a couple others. You guys missed Mario Party. Mario Party was 6th. Spider-Man 2 at 14th. Undisputed, still on the list at 16th. Minecraft at 18th. My Sims Cozy Bundle at 19th. Which is
What?
just I forgot that came out. I'm surprised it made it in the top 20. And then number 20, this is awesome. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
Oh, that's
Which
cool.
is like, oh, I remember now. The physical release came out in November, so that's why.
I can't believe we let the anime nerd down. I don't take an L on that. I give that the bench. I mean, that dude. I don't think I've ever thought of Dragon Ball a day in my life.
I'm just like, you knew it was a big game though, Fusion.
I kind of forgot about. You gotta think. I only played one October game. I can't remember all of them. When October had like 8 releases, I only played one. That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, you didn't really fall off as a gamer this year, man. Like this was a rough year for Fusion rated.
There wasn't a lot of 2024 titles that like really interested me.
But Hellblade was a day one.
Well, I already had Game Pass.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, we talked a lot and yelled a lot, mostly me. Let's end with what we've been playing, which I think Ben. I mean, me and Fusion already talked about our thing, so you can go ahead, Bench.
I mean, I'll touch briefly upon Silent Hill 2, but I finally wrapped that up, and that game is, like, very good. Blooper Team knocked it out of the park. I was very impressed. It was scary as shit. I mean, the prison and the labyrinth and the hospital can, like, I never want to go there again. And then just the atmosphere, the story, the music, just everything added up together to just be a very good experience. And I had expected on the Soggy's list this year. And then I went to Nintendo World, and that was very good. It's just Nintendo magic in the flesh. And that was just, it was magical. I mean, we rode the ride, and that was like a VR type thing, and that was a lot of fun with the Mario Kart ride. And then we did like the little puzzles around the park, and we got to do like the Bowser Jr. challenge because of that. And that was just really cool. Getting to like, you're really Mario jumping and stuff around the park in that mini game. And then we actually got reservations at the like Toad Cafe. And that was that was surprisingly very good. I had a burger and fries and kind of slapped.
That is crazy that you go to a whole other state on vacation and you're like, I'm getting a burger.
It's a theme
The
park.
LA
It's the safest option.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And also burger is like a LA burger is classic.
I would say
that
Nintendo
sounds
World
awesome.
impressed me. Yeah.
Wasn't there's like escalators in Nintendo World, right? I heard those are
Well,
weird.
it's escalators because the whole park is separated by like an upper thing on a mountain and then the lower part. So to get to Nintendo World, you've got to go down like 5 sets of escalators.
Oh, okay, that's weird. But no, I mean Nintendo World sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to go there, but I'm stuck in Texas.
I'd say wait until it goes to Florida because I'm excited to go to that one too because it'll be bigger with Donkey Kong and more rides.
Fusion, am I wrong to say that you would be the lowest on Silent Hill 2 out of everyone?
He's a hater.
Out of everyone here, probably.
I mean,
I know it doesn't
Even not
sound
everyone
like.
here, but like
It
just
doesn't
the
sound like.
Discord.
I would say it sounds like Beef is a little lower when he talks about it.
I mean, I might talk to him about it.
Yeah,
I mean, he
don't know,
got the
like,
worst
what
ending,
his-
so.
And to be fair, just to clarify for the audience, I am lower, but my lower is an 8 out of 10. However, not
Yeah. I want to point that out. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Wolf, what
Like,
would you give it? Because I'd give it a 9.
It's a 9 for me. But I mean, it's a remake of one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
And even then, I still prefer the original. So
Yeah, I still think it's really. I would. Yeah, I guess you could say I'm on the lower from people here, but still lower as in that's still a really good game.
me and Beef definitely did agree, though. One thing is, it is too long. It was like they kind of shoestringed a lot of like combat sections and like made them and added puzzles and stuff to where it didn't really need to be as long as it needed to be.
I didn't mind.
Drag out.
I didn't mind the hospital and jail being long because I like those more explorable like the more tight knit areas where you really gotta like the puzzles and stuff. I didn't mind those, but whenever you're like, I felt like the labyrinth was a little too long, and I felt like some of like the in between. Like once you leave the hospital, there's like a city portion where you're like in the town for a solid hour, and I thought that was a little too long.
No, I agree. It definitely feels like they added more than I feel like they needed to, considering like the quality of the original was still there. And it's like, I think you could have done not 1-to-1, but like you didn't need to add as many gameplay segments as I think they did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sano 2 hopefully going to be on the Soggy's list. Not from Fusion though. It's too much of a remake.
I mean, because it is a remake of that.
It's a remake, but like
you've never played it.
Yeah,
I know I've never played it, but the industry has, and they know.
Okay, here's my thing though, Fusion, is that they are completely different games. As someone who's played both.
But the story is the exact same, man.
Oh my god.
You said it yourself.
Oh, also like, dude,
listen.
Luke Roberts as James killed it. Best voice actor of the year. Like
Dude, that's where I feel like I must have missed something. Because I'm not saying it was bad. I think it was good, but like everyone else is saying he's so
his
great.
Performance, his facial capture,
that's where I must be wrong. Like I will admit I must just be wrong about the performance thing there, because I feel like I'm just so middle of like I thought he was fine, and everyone else is like he's so good, and I'm like he was okay. And I feel like that's probably more me than you guys.
The thing is though, I think the thing is like you gotta. I don't want to say accept it. The thing is, it's like it's very Twin Peaks. It's very like weird on purpose, like kind of the tone of his inflection and how he talks. It's gonna sound a bit like, oh, that's not like Naughty Dog voice acting, where it's like that's like a you're watching cinema or something, like in that kind of way. I feel like it's just a different style of voice acting that maybe you're not as into, and I get it. It's fine. You're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
I mean. Again, I don't think it was bad. I just feel like I feel like I'm on the lesser end of maybe I should actually appreciate his voice acting more than I did.
No, it's fair. It's an acquired taste. God, I sound like such a. I'm sorry, acquired taste. I'm mad at myself for saying that. But yeah, that's everything that we've been playing. I'm ready to get out of here, guys. How you guys feeling? Good episode.
Good show.
How you feeling about Slice of Gaming in 2024? I think we got a good year. We had a good year. And just a reminder, we will not be here until Soggy's happen. Yeah, and Soggy's is looking like first week of January.
Yeah.
So
nothing next week.
So depending on when the Ravens play, that's how you'll know when Soggy's.
That is true. I guess. Yeah. That's because. Yeah. Okay.
We'll talk about it later. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever your favorite podcasts are found, and follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. And hopefully, Bench, we want to try to get a Blue Sky account.
That will happen once I have the link to this episode.
The link?
Once I can do a post. We have an account.
Oh, okay, perfect. There we go. So we will be actually posting on Blue Sky more often in the coming weeks as well. So, anyways, if you guys want to find us, well, you already got this feel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.